Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest Gold, the modern baseball of Joshi podcasting. Dylan, would you like to elaborate, please?
It's bullshit. You know that you missed us. I forgot I was supposed to. Whatever. Yeah. So last week, I'm actually shocked at how good of a reference it is. Last week I tweeted that Stardom Quest is much like modern baseball and many other Midwest emo bands, because we're annoying as shit when you first listen to us, but after a while you realize that we're pretty cool, and like you can't stop listening to us because we're just so entertaining and insightful that even though we remain whiny, we never stop being whiny. Uh, you stop getting annoyed by it, and that's the beauty of both Midwest emo and Stardom Quest. I am of course from the Midwest. Alex just wishes he was.
Yeah, you were born in the Midwest. I merely adopted it, you know.
I thought you were about to go into the Bane, like the full Bane monologue.
I can't remember it, to be honest.
I mean, either.
That's the only reason. But yeah, this is brought to you by the 5starnetwork.co. You know the place to go at this stage, the YouTube, the website. You got to plug? You seemed like you had something to plug.
No, not yet.
No? Oh, okay.
We're gonna still doing Guyism on the No Limit Wrestling Show next up. If you haven't checked out the most recent No Limit Wrestling Show, I talk shit about Britt Baker and we watched JWP. It was a good time.
Oh yeah.
That episode's doing surprisingly well, and I was like, fuck, we're gonna have to do more of these like punishment shows because that draws, unfortunately.
People love the
but
Britt
yeah.
Baker.
Oh, and I also yesterday I defeated the Ender Dragon in my Minecraft server. After spending 100 hours in that server because my buddy is not paying for it anymore. So because I have nothing else to do, I'm probably gonna have to get back to writing. Unfortunately. So that will probably be a thing at some point. I'll plug it on the podcast if and when that happens. I'm thinking about writing about funnily enough, I started this Nippon Budokan thing for like Joshi shows in Nippon Budokan, obviously. I'm thinking about not doing that. I'm thinking about writing about a random Korkauen match from 1980 between Yokota and Masami because I thought it was very good, but also very funny because it was and you will know why it was very funny. It was a junior title match.
Oh yes.
So while the first I don't know if it was 15-minute time limit, the first 12 minutes were like really good wrestling, well worked. The last 3 were them refusing to take a fall to each other. And then it went to a draw. Because they were obviously shoot pinfalls around that time.
Yeah,
And
what a strange company. They had a shoot belt. Like a
yeah,
shoot
kind of. Like it
belt.
would change hands sometimes. Like it wasn't like fully shoot, but like certain matches you were like, "Oh yeah, they just stopped cooperating for the last 3 minutes."
Like how do you do that? Like how do you AJW was really weird, man.
Yeah.
What a time. They did also have a shoot belt, but that was very
Yes, an actual
sad
shoot belt,
and
mixed
embarrassing.
martial arts belt.
Yeah.
Bet Yoshinaga.
Shout out Yoshinaga. Just never
Kick
lost
that.
it.
Oh, that's another thing. I named my Minecraft dogs Sharky, Crusher, and Nakamura after the Mad Dog military because I am a nerd.
Yes, you are.
Nerd.
All right. Well, there's only one place to start, really, isn't there?
Yeah, we're acting like the
Marigold.
biggest. I think this isn't like the biggest show that we gotta do in a minute.
It's fine. Everybody else beat us to the punch. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're old news. We had Marigold heading to Sumo Hall to make their big statement with Marigold Summer Destiny on the 13th of July. This did 3,058 fans at Sumo Hall, and I consider that a big success. They went head to head with Noah in the Budokan, and that had AJ Styles versus Marufuji. That did like 4,000. So you run right up against that and get 3,000. I think that's a success.
Yeah. As I've kind of been saying, if they had lied and said 10 extra, like I've been making the joke that's like, man, they should have counted Kyrie as 10 extra people, and they would have beaten Stardom's number last year, right? Or like if you know, 6 people missed their train like that, it's very possible, or got sick day of. Like it's very possible Marigold was beating Stardom's number from year end last year. Was it year end? Where the fuck did when did they run Ryogoku? Uh, Last time Stardom ran Ryogoku, I don't remember right now. But yeah, so they did a great number there, especially for just kind of like you said, going up against Noah, which is kind of where they're getting their male fan base in the same way that Stardom's getting their male fan base or their their Puro fan base, I should say. Stardom's getting their Puro fan base more so from New Japan. Um, Marigold is trying to get it from Noah. So considering that, really good number for them. Um, Obviously, you always want a little bit more, but over 3,000 is a win in Ryogoku right now, I think. So good for them.
Yeah, I think, being like 2 months old and getting 3,000 at Sumo Hall is pretty impressive. I think it bodes well for the Oat Award show in January, which is, I think, it's lining up to be their big show. It doesn't look like they're going to run in December like I
They're
expected.
not, yeah.
Because
Rusty
even
said
Rossi was like, I
for the
wanted
next
the
one.
date, but they gave me right before Stardom, and I was like, I don't know about that.
No, no,
So,
no. It was the opposite. It was that he wanted to run against Stardom, but then they
oh,
didn't have the venue. Like there was no
oh, I
venues
see.
for it.
Okay. He
So
said Oat Award gave him a good offer, which I
yeah,
think was them going, hey, there's lots of tourists around. Do you want to run
they're
in a
also
venue?
going still head to head against Stardom that day because Stardom has a pay per view.
Yes, yes. So interesting times, but yeah, I think it bodes well for them to get 3,000 here for Sumo Hall.
Mm,
Um, I think we'll get hopefully a better picture tomorrow. I think tomorrow's newsletter day, and if they did well buy wise, I could see them leaking that to Dave for the
mm.
big PR spin. So we'll look out for that because that could be pretty big as well. Um, but yeah, let's get into the show because it was a time. It feels like a year
Yeah,
ago as well because it was Saturday, like really early Saturday. So it feels like it was years ago. But it was only 4 days or 5 days. 5 days? 4 days? I can't count.
5.
Anyway, on the
Yeah.
pre-show, Rhea Seto defeated Komomo Minami in 8.5 minutes. That's kind of surprising. Seto is a good team.
Funnily
Another good team.
enough, we just talked about they kind of did a shoot finish type gimmick. I mean, it wasn't a shoot; it was very clearly the point. But they did it where Rhea just forced her down. She didn't like hit her with a big move. She just like force pinned her, and I thought that was a really cool way to have this rookie match go. And I agree, Rhea did have a cool entrance uh, theme song. I like Seto a lot actually.
I think she was better here than Komomo. I think seeing
Yeah,
Komomo without somebody to lead her for the first time, I was like, oh, she needs a lot of work. Um, so yeah, I thought Seto showed
yeah. I
better
feel like they weren't on the same
fundamentals and better
page.
everything. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but Rhea made up for it by just being kind of a bruiser,
Mm,
and like I mean, she is like it doesn't come as a surprise. She is a better fundamental worker than Komomo already. And I think part of that is a testament to Sendai's training system. Um, like just frankly, I think that they are pretty great trainers over there, and I think that Rhea took like a fish to water with wrestling training, and
mm.
yeah, I didn't mind this match. I thought it was solid. Uh, it felt like they shoot hated each other and they were like really like bruising each other and didn't want to get along, and I thought that was pretty cool. Uh, Now them being a tag team is also pretty cool in this
Oh
upcoming
yeah,
tournament. So
that's true.
I kind of like their dynamic already. I think it's an interesting one because Komamo did come out of the gate full of piss and vinegar, just beating the hell out of Seto, and I thought that was cool too.
All right. Well, that was the pre-show. You could see
Yeah,
people filing in during it. It was very, very interesting. We
yeah,
kicked
because they
off the
kept the
actual
lights on.
show. Yes, it did. We kicked off the actual show with a 10-minute draw between Chika. and Koki, and the team of Kizuna and Victoria Yuzuki. They only had 10 minutes to work with. I feel like they
We should
didn't.
probably lay it out. I know everybody's already probably heard or watched this. Kazuna Tanaka was obviously X. She
Yes.
since that happened right after we recorded. Um, yeah, that's a cool X. Go on. Sorry for interrupting.
All right. Yeah, I mean, they had 10 minutes. You could sense that they probably needed to go longer to peak the match
Mm,
because it just kind of happened and then ended, and it was all fine. I think Kizuna out of wave, I was like, okay, she's got to adjust to everybody. Chika and Koki obviously usually need a veteran to like lead the match. So I think everybody here was doing their best, but this is a match that they're going to do again in
and
however
it'll
many
be better.
time, and it will be a lot better. Yeah, because not only will they have more time, but everybody's going to be a lot more polished. Especially the Twin Tower team, they go from really good to not good, kind of every other show, just because
I
they're
didn't think
still
they were
so
bad
new.
here.
They weren't bad, but I think you could see like when you watch them in some of the preview tags and when they're with veterans, they're so much
Mm.
better. Like especially
I don't know.
Chika Goto. Like when
No,
Chika Goto
I
has
think
a veteran to work off,
Chikagoto
she's incredible.
is. I think she's great opposite Yuzuki though. I thought that was a
Oh yeah, they
really
they
good
were
work.
good, but I still think the best version of Chika is when she has somebody who's a lot more solid to work off.
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, and her best match today is probably that Sumikawa match, the Shizuki match,
Mm.
right before the end of the actress girls and actress girls. Um, but yeah, no, I thought her and Yuzuki usually do very good together, and I thought they did very good together here as well. Kazuna, I'm a big fan of hers. I've been a big fan of hers. I think her high pitched voice is always so funny. Like, and this is like it's kind of not mean to say, but it's just like a weird thing to point out. But at one point, she had Chikagoto in an armbar, and she started yelling with the highest pitched voice, "Give up! Give up!" And I'm just like, "That's the funniest." Like I just died laughing because she's so good. Like it's not like she's bad, but I'm just like it's so funny when you actually think about this like small 19-year-old Kazuna Tanaka being like trying to break someone's arm. Like, you know what I mean? Like like it kind of it broke that for a second and I thought it was so funny. But Kiz and Vic, which is what I'm calling them for right now, they clearly labbed some moves together and I thought that was really cool. They all hit. They hit one really cool move on Chikagoto that I did not write down the workings of, but I just remember it being fucking sick. And yeah, I thought it was quite good. I had a buddy who was a WWE fan watching this, um, and he was texting me throughout the night, and he watched this match, and he's like, like that match, like it makes sense the appeal of Joshi wrestling. And I was like, yeah, and that wasn't even like that great. Like it was just a well
Yeah.
worked, like it was just a good match. Like it wasn't anything insane. And he's like, yeah, but it was like it was a lot of fun. They were, working intense. They were really like just like I don't know, they were creative with it. And yeah, I think Yuzuki and Gochika, their stuff together was probably the highlight. But I was also a big fan of what Kazuna did. This wasn't like a great night for Koki, but I didn't think it was a bad one either.
Mm.
Uh, it's funny because last week we talked about how bad the weekend beforehand was. Uh, that was before I got to watch the second show of that weekend. That show was fucking great. Oki did great. Like
Not
everybody did
Nagoya?
really good. No, Nagata.
Oh, Nagata,
Uh,
yes, yes. I don't remember that one.
yeah, it was a really good show.
All right.
Even Koki and Kamon Minami was good because I remember Koki did a good job there.
Okay, well, that tag, we're gonna see that again, and that's kind of
Yes.
the important part. And also, Chika and Koki just they do not take L's.
Oh
It's
yeah,
great.
but that's also the thing was that, and they kind of sold this on commentary. This was effectively a loss for Twin Tower because it's like
Mm,
they should have won. Like they're big, they're
eh,
more experienced, they are more protected. So like the idea is that it's like Yuzuki and Kazuna kind of push them to 10 minutes, and it's like
see,
even
I don't
so
buy that because
even
Kazuna's
so
a former
Chikago
tag champ. Like that's a
for
title winner.
2 weeks
Yeah, but even
because
still,
Saki and Risa Sera beat each other up and lost. Like that,
yeah, but still, she's the only former title holder in the match. You know.
but she's I think you're I don't know.
I think I value a real pro wrestling championship over the actresses. Like, I don't know, man.
Yes, but
Like,
but
that's
that
just how
means
I
that
would view it.
like Miku Aono is less experienced than like Mai Sakurai, because Mai Sakurai has been wrestling uh
Well,
more in the
Miku Ono
past
is different
3
because she was
years.
part of the real actress and
Yeah, but
wrestled in
she only
actual
wrestled there
division.
for like a year and a half, or no,
Uh,
she started
um,
early. Never mind. Okay, that's a bad example, but you get my point. I think that you're uh looking at Kizuna at on a different level because Wave books weird.
okay, sure, sure. The next match then
Well,
was
after that, there
Chiaki.
was a bunch of announcements.
See, I didn't know when these had happened because I watched after.
So,
So I
this
was just gonna
happened
run them down.
after the tag match, but
Okay,
it's up to you.
we'll do them eventually.
Okay,
'Cause
we'll do them
I
after
didn't
the show.
know when they had done them, and I missed it on the rewatch because I was skipping around.
You can intro
Um,
this. I'm gonna eat my donut real quick.
okay, so we had Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki beating Myla Grace and Zeta Steel in just under 9 minutes. Chiaki surprisingly got the win for her team, which I thought was kind of
With a new
interesting,
finish.
given yes, definitely that she did. I thought it was interesting because Nozaki is right there, but I guess they really like Chiaki, and she is the one who's here full time, so
Ozaki's there full time. Um,
basically full time, yeah. But you
but
know,
I didn't think this match was like great, but I liked what it was. You know what I mean? Like I didn't.
it has a 4.2 on Cage Match, and I think that's
That's a
really
bit
harsh.
harsh.
It was fun for what it was, and
Yeah,
Chiaki and Nagisa going full heel was really fun. You know,
for cage
using the
match, that's
chair.
really harsh. Like I gave it a
Yeah,
5.5 on my scale, but like
that's like a
it
Raw
was
rating. Like, you would give that to a Raw match. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's
like a fine Raw match. Like
yeah,
you know,
that's what
like
fours are for. But I don't know.
yeah, like I don't know it. Like I thought it was cool. I thought Chiaki and Nozaki are. I really love them as a tag team. As a heel tag team, especially. Uh, After a couple matches later, I thought about it. I was like, man, like give me Chiaki and Nagisa against the Passion Sisters
Hell yeah,
in Korkauen Hall.
hell yeah,
Just that's
I'm
that's
with
a
it.
match I want to
Aren't
see
they on the
now. You know
same
what I mean?
side of the block as well?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked deeply into the tournament outside
Okay,
of the pairings.
all right.
Um,
We'll
but like
project.
you know what I mean? Like that sounds really cool. I mean,
Mhm.
okay, to be fair, Passion Sisters are not making it out of their fucking first round match, so
I don't know.
that's
I feel like there's going to be a big upset in that tournament, and I
I
don't
don't think it's there.
know who
I
else it's
don't think
going
it's
to
that
be,
one.
unless it's Yuzu and Kizuna getting upset.
Yeah, that's more likely. It's the
Yeah,
champions are getting upset because
yeah, yeah.
they aren't winning the tag belts.
I don't know though.
Um,
It's going to be interesting, but I definitely see a big upset coming in the first round of that
I'm
tournament.
actually really excited to talk about that about the tag tournament later, but
Mhm.
we'll save that for later.
We just got to get
Um,
there.
yeah, but no, I thought this match was like I didn't think it was bad. There were obviously certain moments where it was kind of messy, and I feel like Mila and Zeta are getting better separate, and I think when they come together, they kind of regress a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
which is fine because Zeta's leaving.
yeah,
The
which is
tear
unfortunate.
drops from my face.
Yeah, um, but like so that's what it is. But I thought that Nozaki and Chiaki did a really good job, and I think that they do a good job with the heel stuff.
Mhm.
It feels well layered in, which I feel like is not a thing that's done very well. Like it's not like you're just waiting for
Well,
them to do some
I
heel shit.
compared it yeah, in my review for Voices of Wrestling, I did it with Scott. I did compare them to like the closest thing we've got to Kagetsu led Oedo Tai, in
Yeah,
that they are cheating on their heels, but they're kind of cool. So you're like, you know what? Have fun. Go ahead. You know, they're not like they're not like thumbing their nose and going, nah, look at me. They're just doing shit and it's cool.
yeah. It
Um,
feels like, and this is a
that's
big
good.
problem I have with a lot of heels, including ones I like. It still frustrates me. Like I think Ren Narita is a big person who does this, unfortunately, where it's like you're just kind of waiting for them to do more of the heel stuff, and in
Mm,
between that, they're just like waiting until they're gonna do more of their
yeah.
heel shit. Whereas it felt like Nozaki and Chiaki were having an actual match doing work, put it like doing actual work. They just happen to have a chair sometimes. And they just happen to be a little
They
bit of
just happen to have
of
a chair.
assholes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like but I think that's my my preferred type of heel because I can boo them, like I can be like, oh, well, those motherfuckers, but I still don't mind watching them. Like
Mm.
I don't know. I think there's a conversation to be had about heels, and like I'm the baby in this conversation. I like House of Torture, but I'm the baby in this conversation where it's like I think heels that aren't fun to watch or aren't interesting are just bad at their job. I don't think
Yeah,
that's good
yeah,
heat. Like I think there's such thing as bad heat. And I don't feel that with Nozaki and Chiaki. Knock on wood, they could always amp it up a bit too much. But as of now, like I just think they do a really cool job with the heel character. And I like
okay.
Chiaki's gear.
Yes, Jackie's one of the big wins for Rossi. Like he
Yeah.
got a real
I
talent
posted
there.
that picture of Chiaki sticking her tongue out at Zeta while she's posing on the
That
ape
was fun. Yeah,
turnbuckle. Uh yeah, like
Jackie's a
she's just a
natural.
great presence.
Mm. I did like that they had the babyface team as well. Zeta is not a babyface, so she was like, "Ah, why wouldn't I use the chair?" And Mila, being the good one, was like, "Hey, don't do that." So they really sowed some seeds there of doubt. So when Mila and Zeta lose in their next match, it's going to be obvious because they don't get along. So I think it was
Yeah.
good
They
to
started fighting after the match, right? I said to them,
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
please
You got
stop.
you just kind of advanced everything with this match. It was just very purposeful, and
Yeah.
I like that. Um, but then we got on to some good stuff. If you're ready to move on.
I'm ready.
Okay. We crowned the first Marigold Superfly champion. Natsumi Shozuki beat Misa Matsui in just under 15 minutes to become the first champion. Kind of the expected route to go there. As I was saying, Matsui is so young. She has a long time to chase and eventually have her big run with this belt. No point in burning that right away because what else is she going to do after she drops it?
Hmm.
So I'm happy with her waiting. And I think Shozuki, she's been very open about the fact that she's not going to be here for a long time. So it's better to use her, burn up as many matches as you can, have the best reign possible to put this belt on the map, and then go from there. So I think she's a perfect champion, and she's also just a great wrestler. She's going to work
Yes.
well with just about anybody. And I
You
thought
know
this
what's bad
match
funny?
was great. It's funny.
Shizuki was like, man, I gotta get a solo photo book before I retire. I
No
gotta get
way,
that shit next year.
dude.
That's the goal. I was like, that's
What a
hilarious
worker.
because
What a worker.
I think they like left out some of her shots in the bikini thing. Um,
Wow, how dare they?
she posted them on Twitter, and she was like,
No,
well, if they ain't gonna use them
that's so funny.
here,
Can't believe
yeah,
she was forced to do this photo book.
yeah, against her will. This 35-year-old woman against her will. Uh, Crazy. But yeah, I thought this match was tremendous. This was my second favorite match of the night. I imagined
Whoa.
I actually don't know how you feel about the white belt stuff, so I don't know if you would agree.
You didn't read
Um,
my review, my great review with Scott? You didn't read it?
I was
You
playing
didn't
Minecraft.
you
That's
didn't
my bad.
analyze it? Take it
Um,
in? I'm gonna tell Scott you hate him.
don't do that.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't do that.
I'm doing it right now.
Um, you're an asshole. No, but I thought this match was tremendous. I thought it was great. I appreciated. I think the one thing that was interesting was that I think they use the high speed stuff interestingly, right? I think the roll up exchange to end the match could have been done more smoothly. But I think that's just kind of a matter of them not being used to that style. Uh, we need Yoniyama around, quite frankly. We need her to come around
Yeah.
and teach everybody how to do that as swiftly as possible because she's been doing that for like 20 years and it's been good the entire time pretty much. Um, but I appreciated that they kind of mixed it in well with just them beating the fuck out of each other, right?
Mm.
Uh, the opening stretch was really fun, and then they got out to the apron. They started trying to kill each other. Shizuki did kill Misa Matsui and bloodied her up
Oh, that was
with that
crazy.
crazy Meteora. Um, I was watching the Sendai show day later, or 2 days later, and, and Mize and Scott were like, "Yeah, Momo, you probably shouldn't do Meteor no more. I think that's Shizuki's move now. I think we should probably. I'll maybe we just let her do it. I think she has a monopoly on that one now after this match. Um, but yeah, I just thought it was really fucking good. I thought it was just a fun match. It had me biting on every move. I was like, damn, like maybe like either of them could really win. Like I had a feeling Shizuku would win, but I still had some doubts, and I still felt that Misa could have gotten it, and I
You
think that
have
kind
doubts
of
because Rossi's insane, as we learned later.
yes, and like
Yeah,
that was kind of what I realized is that it's like the thing I was thinking with Misa Matsui they did with Miku Aono.
yeah,
It was just like it was like one for one. They swapped it. And I was like, that feels way more unbelievable, but okay, I'm down with it. But yeah, I thought this was great. My final note that I think I need to touch on, and this is not the last time I said this on the show, Misa Matsui and Natsumi Shizuki are just unfair pro wrestlers.
yeah.
Like they are just so good. It's unbelievable, truly. Unfortunately, the most unfair professional wrestler possibly of all time was also on the show. So, take that as
Yes.
you will. But I really had a great time with this match. I loved it. Like I said, second favorite match of the night.
All right. Yeah, I think the best praise you can give this is it didn't feel like a mid-card title match. They went to war as if this was
Hmm.
for the world title. Like this was Kalani versus Sol Ruka in that those two went out to make a statement and went, we are fighting for a belt. It doesn't matter that it's a secondary belt. And that's kind of what Sol and
So you're
Kalani
saying it's
did.
3.5 stars?
No. No.
Okay,
That was very
I
harsh
was
on that
misreading.
Sol
It
Kalani
was.
match, by
It
the way.
was.
That was a good match. I didn't like the start, but the end was a lot better. Um, but yeah, this was the similar vein of we don't care if it's a secondary belt or a tertiary belt. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna kill it, and we're gonna have our own flavor to things. Because there was parts of this match that were distinctly Yoniyama versus Tayo coded. Not as good, obviously, because neither one of these women is Natsuki Tayo. But there was
Or
like a distinct
Yoneyama for that matter.
flavor, or Yoniyama, let's be fair. But there was a distinct vibe from those matches as well. And then they just kind of went at it and went to their own style. So I thought they did bring their own kind of take to this match that
Mm.
maybe was more in the Superfly division. I don't really know. But yeah, I thought they had a really standout match. Matsui fighting through like a bloodied mouth is one of those images where you're like, you can lose, and I'm still gonna think you're the coolest bitch in the world. So you're
Poor
good.
girl covered her face on the Shoe Pro cover because she was all busted up.
Oh, no. Yeah, I thought they just did excellent work.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to put your belt on the map than something like this. Stealing the show. If not for Io Shirai, this was definitely the best match of the show.
Hmm.
So they deserve a lot of credit here. And Shizuki really was like, hey, listen, I am not going to be forgotten. I am just as good as everybody else who jumped because she kind of gets lost in the conversation sometimes. But
Yeah.
Shizuki is where it's at. She is.
I mean,
She
I've
is.
always felt that way to some degree. That it's like you could easily make Shizuki a top title contender
Yeah.
immediately. I would still like to see that. I would still love to see Shizuki challenge for the top belts while holding the super flyweight belt or the super fly belt, whatever. But up to them. I'm cool with her here. Also, very pretty belt. I like the belt a
Yeah.
lot. They're 3 for 3 for belts so far. The tag belts, we'll see how they look in action. They got little like Pegasi
Mm.
on them, which is an interesting little thing. But we'll see how they look in action. Um, yeah, I love the belt. I love these wrestlers. Misa Matsui dyed her hair and started doing the point. She thought she was Natsupoi. Uh, luckily, oh, we actually had this discussion: who's going to win the belt first, Misa or Natsupoi? Unfortunately for Misa, it looks like Natsupoi will probably be beating her to it, but we'll see. I'm
Let's go.
happy.
All right. Well, that's that match. Our next match then took
Hmm.
us to LLPW versus Team Passion. Nori, Shinobu Kandori, and Kako Inoue beat Mai Sakurai, Nanai Takahashi, and Nao Ishikawa. Nori got the win for her team over Now in 15 and a half minutes. This
This
didn't
went
go at
15 and
all
a
the
half
way I
minutes.
expected. Yeah, I know. This
Wow.
I was expecting the Legends to just beat up Now. They went
Mm.
really heavy into Nori. This was like the Nori showcase. There was a
Which
little
is the
bit of
most
Nanai, and
selfless thing Kandori has perhaps ever done in
I
professional
am as
wrong.
shocked as anyone. What
Like I just
happened
thought
to
about that.
Mr.
It's like,
Joshi Wrestling?
yeah, like she doesn't do that.
No. There was enough
Hardly
Kandori there.
Harley Saito was one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live, and Kandori's like, yeah, but you stay back there.
Yeah. There was some nice Shinobu Kandori stuff that like got the soul rushing because they
Mm,
were slapping each other, and Kandori did the armbar transition, and I was like, this is the life. But largely they just got out of the way and let Now and Nori kind of do the thing. I think Nori was really impressive. A lot of people came away really interested in her. The array of kicks is certainly very fascinating. But also now Ishikawa was so over. There were a few people on
yes.
the show that got very like vocal reactions, and now Ishikawa was one of them. What a home run of a get she was. She went
Now
from the
Ishikawa,
oh,
good.
she's an interesting baby face to have on the roster too. She is one of the most over people in the company.
Now Ishikawa is one of the only people who is beloved by everybody except for Ash. Um, Literally everybody else I've spoken to, from old Joshi fans who barely watch wrestling anymore, to us, to our friends, to people I see on Twitter, to just new fans. Like everybody sees that it's like, oh, now's really cool. And she's like one of my buddies, Passion said like she's the main character of this shit. Like I know that there's a lot of main characters of it, but I kind of I can't help but kind of agree with him that it's like she's she's
If her
her,
and
you
Nanai
know.
aren't like vital parts of this tag tournament, I don't know.
That's the
I will
problem
really
is that
put my
they're not
will.
going to be. I
I don't know.
they might get the tag challenge at first stream. I feel like they
Maybe.
probably lose in the first round of the tag tournament and then get like a big title match in the next few months.
Possibly. Possibly.
That's more
We'll have
likely.
to wait and see.
I really like this match though, unsurprisingly.
Mm,
I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, Takako, I love the way she hits her tombstone like 2 minutes in, and it's just like this is the tone that we're setting, and we're gonna go from here.
yeah.
Kendori in the Paradise Lock was very funny. Unfortunately
Oh
for
man.
Mai, she got a receipt. Um, a crazy one at that. So Kendori kind of stiffed Mai, and Mai like was like gonna bounce back, and then she just fainted, and nobody really knows if she just was like straight up knocked out or if like that she was just working for like just selling for a minute and a half straight. Uh, People were deeply concerned. They dragged her outside eventually. I, what my buddy was saying was that he thinks that they were like gave her some smelling salts and then she was like, okay, I'm fine. Like she just got knocked silly for a second, but
That's crazy.
nothing major. Yeah, 'cause she got back and she started like she wasn't in it much after that, but she was still around. But yeah, Nori and Ishikawa were probably the stars of the show. As much as I would love to say Kandori was, it was those two, right?
Yeah. Kandori could have been though, if she wanted.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, I loved it. I thought Nori did a great job. I think Nori should get in the Dream Star, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That would be ideal. And if any outsider was going to, I think it would be Nori, quite frankly. I think that like the way they kind of
Yeah.
set it up was that it's like Nori is very prideful for being an LPW, but Nanai Takahashi wants her to work Marigold. She wants to have a singles match apparently. And it just seems like it would be a cool way to get somebody outside of the roster into the tournament without just straight up poaching her, which they should
Yeah.
not do because Mr. Joshi Pro Wrestling said, "Don't you dare try to steal my wrestler. She's the only one I got." And then everybody called her an old lady, and it was kind of mean. Um, but yeah, I think that especially since she went over Ishikawa, I think she should probably just like be around a bit. Like
Yeah. Well, I would
she
hope they
shouldn't
do
take that and
feature.
then never wrestle again.
Yeah, I would hope they are part of this again. I think there's a lot you can still do with LLPW versus the Passion Crew. Especially with Now and Nori.
Mm.
Uh, and I mean there's mileage into Kako and Kandori and Nanai
They're
interacting.
like the
So
best. They're the best novelty, I think. In wrestling, bro. They're my favorite
uh,
novelty act in pro wrestling.
how do you define
Uh,
novelty? Because I think Ozaki. I've come around on Ozaki.
oh
I think her
Jesus.
shit works. I think Ozaki beating people up in would be really funny if
I
she
don't
like.
think she counts as novelty, but
Yeah, see, the thing with
also
Ozaki is
I
it's funny
disagree.
if she does it to Nao Ishikawa, but it's not funny if she does it to Miyamoto. It's not as fun.
Good point. Yeah.
But I
No,
would
that's
I would
valid.
very much be behind Ozaki being a mean bitch to now Ishikawa. So I kind of
No, that
think
makes sense.
they're probably even, but
But then
that's
again,
not
I don't
how
see them
Ozaki
as novelty
rolls.
because she wrestles like every month. Like she's a double.
Yeah, yeah, she's a
She
full
holds
time
half the
wrestler.
top titles in Joshi wrestling.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, so that's why I was saying, like, how do you
Like two
define
of six, but
novelty? Because
yeah, no, I get you.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, Kandori, and Takako are the ones.
yeah. Well, like for like these like legend spots where it's like, you're gonna
Yeah,
put them in
yeah,
like a legend spot. Ozaki's just a part of her roster. Um,
that's true.
but like when you're putting them, like I think Takako and Kandori are just like two of the best, still, which is great.
All right. Well, that was that match, I guess. I don't
Also,
any
crowd,
more.
huge, huge aspect of it. About the crowd
Yeah.
and the seconds, I think that like one thing that I noticed about the show were that the seconds were around the ring and you could see them, and their facial expressions were very like they were so in it, and I that made me more in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as the show went on, more people started seconding. You saw Chikagoto out there. You saw Mizumatsui with her busted up, with her
Yeah.
band-aid over her lip. You like more and more people start coming out to second through these last handful of matches, and I thought they added to the vibe, because they were all so into it very clearly. Um, so yeah, I
I
think
think
the atmosphere was
Marigold's
great.
crowds have good energy. I think they've already
Yes,
beaten Stardom crowds in general. Like I can't remember the
definitely.
last Stardom crowd that
Outside
was
of outside of
as
the
good as
Osaka
this.
show, which is a major outlier for Marigold, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
most of the crowds have been just generally
They do.
better than Starms.
Mm. Um, suppose we can move on then to the United National Championship situation.
Mm.
And for the first one, in the semi-final of the tournament, Michiko Ohmukai beat Mirai in 25 minutes to advance to the final. I guess we'll cover that on its own. Uh,
Mm.
kind of surprising result. I really thought Mirai and Bozilla were kind of being paired up to as like the first, big UN title thing. Um, so I was kind of surprised when Iona won. Um, I'm not upset about it. I will obviously get onto her again since she won the belt. I thought the match was good, but I definitely thought the start was just too slow, which is kind of always the problem with these two. I'm just waiting for them to go with the chains off, just do what they do,
I think it was
and finish.
specifically harder here than the previous three matches for me. Um, Partially because that's just what they did, right? So like they've had
Yeah.
15-minute draw plus 5 minutes. That's been their thing, which means that they get 5 minutes to really start with like fast, but like methodical,
Hmm.
groundwork and whatnot, limb work, whatnot. Mirai had Miku in a leg lock for the first 10 minutes of this match.
Yes.
And hey, I thought I think Mirai's grappling has gotten way better. And I thought that I didn't even think it was inherently bad. But given the placement on this card, given that I've seen this 3 times already, and given that I was waiting for a second match featuring one of these wrestlers, it was hard. Those first 10 minutes were difficult, frankly. Um, I think the matches in general struggled a bit from the length, because
Mm.
they just notably felt it, right? They
The
even though it
latter
was
half of
only
the show was long. They
yeah,
all went Broadway.
which I think this match suffered from the most. Well, maybe not the most.
Mm.
I think actually Alano versus Bozilla suffered the most from
Uh,
going a bit longer
it
than I needed it to.
depends.
Um, but like because this match went the amount of time it should have gone, it's just a shame that it's like it was difficult because again this is
Yeah.
their fourth match in a month. I've talked about it a lot. I think if they had just scrapped one of those matches and made this the third, like had done 2 draws and made this the third one, I think they would have had a lot more stuff in their pocket while also saving for the Bozilla match. Um, I think that there was better ways to do this. With all that being said, I thought this was still a very good match. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Like I said, I thought Mariah's limb work was very well done, even if it was 10 minutes of the match. Like that's a bit much. But I still thought Mariah, like she was getting experimental with it. She was doing different styles of leg locks, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. If this wasn't going 20 plus minutes, I would love this leg work and this like limb work that you're doing. Uh, but it just it was a rough situation. I'll say it like that.
Mhm.
To have to go 10 minutes of limb work so that they can, you know, make up time to get past the 20 and then have the finish.
Yeah. And it's I
Yeah.
get I kinda get going 24 because you wanna sell the beating for the Bozilla match then,
Mhm.
but I also think there's other ways to do that, especially with these 2 where, I think if we've seen Mariah get shot out of a cannon sometimes, and it's insane. As like, if her and Aono just shot out of a cannon at each other, they
Yeah.
could have a very physical match that sells the fatigue for the Bozilla one pretty easily. So I think doing another long match after like 3 long matches was just kind of more of the same. I think that's why there was a lot of people watching this show the first time watching Marigold. It was really interesting to see like the people watching these new wrestlers, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I loved Aono versus Mirai. It is one of the best received matches on the show." And I
Mhm.
think a lot of that is probably new people who haven't seen them do 3 consecutive 20-minute draws, because a
Yeah.
lot of this probably was fresher to them, whereas to us, it was like, "Okay, we've seen this. Like, we've done
Yeah.
this."
I would
So,
say this is the weakest or maybe like tied for second, or, tied for lat or,
yeah, I think the
tied
first
for
one was
third.
the best, and the second one was very good. I thought the second one had a lot of really interesting work done.
I think the second one was the best. I actually am the opposite of you. I think the first one was
Really?
probably the number 3. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
Because
But,
I really liked the second one. I thought the third one was a step down from the second one, but still quite good. I
hmm,
thought the first one was also very good, and I thought this one was also good. I think they've had 4 really good matches. I just think that
yeah,
this one suffered in ways that the others did not,
that's fair.
especially
Um,
live. I was kind of like, can we get?
that's
It's a
fair,
long
that's
show.
fair. Yeah, I was surprised to see Mariah lose. She's been one of the
Same.
most she's been one of the biggest revelations of Marigold, and that she just feels like a new woman,
I
uh,
do think
very popular.
I have a vision from this UN situation
So do
that
I.
we'll get into.
Yeah, I think we might be on similar wavelengths, but I was surprised to see her not get a big match here. I thought they would put her through to Bozilla. But obviously they did what they did with Miko Aono, which was Miko Aono winning the United National Championship and becoming the inaugural champion when she beat Bozilla in 10 minutes. This is where I started watching the show live. So
Hmm.
I was there for the shock of all this. I was there when people were like, "This is embarrassing. Please help Miko Iono. I'm so upset." And then 5 minutes later, they were like, "Oh my god, she won." Um, Rossi did what Rossi does. He said, "I am going to make a star in one night," and had Miko Iono run the gauntlet and beat Mirai and beat the undefeatable Bozilla back to back.
Hmm.
And the fact that we didn't see that coming, when that is peak Rossiism,
That's a very Rossi thing to do.
this
You
is
get one of
peak
these every show.
Rossiism. Yeah, he's insane, and this is exactly what he would do, because of course he's gonna belt up Miko Iono. She's exceptional. Of course he understood
Mhm.
that. How did we not see that? Um, so I really liked what they did here. I think Miko Iono immediately becomes one of the top names in Marigold. She already was in my eyes, but you can't deny her now after this. I think she's an interesting choice as the first UN champion. I think she's gonna have a hard time making this belt stand out in the way the Wonder Belt does, just because she also has a Super Fly belt to contend with, which is also going to have these like excellent high end matches. So I uh I do hope she can fill the role as well as she
Yeah.
can do, but I trust her. I think she's a really talented wrestler. I think if anybody can do it, it's her. And I do think, this is all worth it just to put her on the map, because she's your longer term play. Like, she's here. Bozilla. As much as I love Bozilla, Bozilla is eventually going to get signed. Like, there is no
Mhm.
way American companies aren't already looking at Bozilla. Mirai, she's locked in. She's kind of established already, so you don't need to do this. So yeah, put it all in on Miko Iono and go all in. So I liked what he did. It was a big surprise, but I think it was all done really well. I think Miko Iono came away from this as one of the biggest winners of the show.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I thought that I was match was a step down, obviously, from the Mirai match, before it. But I think that's just mostly because of like the match was a very unique type of match
Mhm.
that doesn't happen. Like you can't have this match on any show. And on top of that, Bozilla is just generally inexperienced. So I thought sometimes I think one thing that took me out, which it took me out until the finish, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a bit more sense. Was Bozilla just kept going for the pin
Yeah.
every move, and I was just like, you could chain two moves together and then try to pin her, uh, because it felt like a good 30-40% of the match was just Bozilla trying to pin Miku, which again it makes sense from a character point of view and from a point of view of Miku ended up winning. That's like, oh well, Bozilla's inexperienced, so she wants to win forehead, right? It's like that's it's like, oh well, I'll just pin her because she already basically got like Mariah already beat the fuck out of her. All I have to do is like push her over and I should beat her. So I get that it like makes sense from the story perspective, but I think flow wise, it made this match feel longer. Which it was only like 10 minutes, right? It was like 11
It was
maybe.
10 minutes. I remember I said last week, I was like, "Oh,
You
this
said
couldn't
word
go
for word
10
10.
minutes. It's a neat 10 minutes." And then, yeah, it went 10 minutes. We're bugged. I think Sonny is, like, taking notes from us. He's not, he
Definitely
he
not.
hates us. Um,
He might,
I
but
was
no.
gonna
So
I was gonna praise Bozilla, so it's interesting that you didn't.
I didn't think she did bad. I also love that Miku was like half dead inside the ring, and Bozilla comes out wearing the coolest gear ever, dabs that
Oh, dude, it was
Masahiro
great.
Chono, and gets in the ring. I was
Bozilla
like,
gear
holy
is
fuck!
excellent. I love it. I like how this is a section where it's just pure muscle, like it just showing off.
Hmm.
Like more wrestlers should
She
do
looked
that.
great.
Just like look at my muscles. I am beefy. I look at them.
At
So yeah,
some
I
at
thought that was
some
great.
point, somebody did bring up that it's like probably could have made a more tasteful bottom there, because okay, but
I
yeah,
watched Level Up. I've learned to ignore the
that's a good
cheats.
point. That's a
It's
good point.
Lola Vice debuted, and I was
No,
like,
see,
where did your gear go?
no,
Like,
that's how
did you
that
forget?
works. That's how that works. You just kind of like learn to like block it out a little bit. But
Yeah,
at some point, I was just watching. I was like, "Geez, that is that's crazy gear." But yeah, I thought this match was good. But again, I think that like it was strange because it was always going to be strange because that's just it. This match is again
yes.
a unique type. You can't really do it. You can't really plan for it, if that makes sense. You never know how winded, how tired, how fatigued Miku is going to be from
Mm,
that Mirai match. So it's kind of difficult to plan for in general. Um, so it's like uh,
okay. Well,
I
I
don't know.
will I will put out my idea, which is that I think Bozilla deserves a lot of credit for her performance in this because a 10-minute domination essentially of a tired babyface is something that is almost impossible to do well. Like this is such an overused archetype from when I was growing up. John Cena would have to like get his ass beat a lot, and it was
Yeah,
boring. It was
Monster of the
consistently
Week.
boring. And so Bozilla being able to do that, and I think making the match even relatively interesting, is a big bonus in my eyes. Like I think she did a really good job of keeping the match going and keeping people into it, whilst I don't know was dead on the floor. Like you're essentially wrestling yourself at that point. So I think Bozilla deserves a lot of praise for keeping that interesting. And I also loved the way I loved how seamless the finish was. We see that finish so often,
Yeah,
and it's clunky and awkward, and the big bad has to like stumble around for a minute. She just like went with it, and it was one fluid motion, and it completely caught me off guard. Those were the best like flash pinfalls from a
I
David versus
agree.
Goliath match I've ever
I
seen. That
agree
was
in that
so
in that
smooth.
aspect.
So I thought she did all of her stuff really well. I don't think they were set up to have a great match, which obviously wasn't the point. The point was to make Iono look like a spirited hero.
Mm.
And I think they did that really well. And I think Bozilla deserves a lot of credit for just keeping people interested. And also, she got a crowd that was mostly behind her when she came out, fully behind Iono by the time they were finished. Like the crowd was actually into the babyface's struggle, which is also not something that people pull off all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree in that respect. I think while I was watching it, I was very confused because I was like, "This is weird if Bozilla wins."
Hmm.
And then eventually I was like, Wait,
You know,
Bozilla's not.
I thought she was losing when she missed the moonsault. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
she's not winning. There was something in the
Okay.
back of my head that went, she would have hit it and just won because that's your big spot to end the match on. But she missed, and I
Is
thought
that
that
her
was
Stardust? Do you think that's her Stardust press? That she's
uh
gonna go for and miss and lose? Like that's her
maybe, yeah.
losing formula?
That's a
Uh,
pretty that's a pretty easy one, yeah,
yeah.
for a giant.
And then eventually, if she wins something huge, she can hit it, right? And
Yeah.
that'll be
Well,
a
she
big.
did hit it on the first show, and this is the
Oh, she
second
she
time she's done
missed.
it.
Did
Did she
she?
miss it again?
I
I thought she hit it on Julia, and that's how Sari won.
She might have. Oh wait, no, I think she did hit it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and she won that match. So yeah, I think
Mhm.
her like I think the moonsault being the make or break type of thing for her is a cool story to tell for
Yeah.
her bigger matches.
I also think that they left the door open if Bozilla does commit to a certain amount of dates to push her again. You know,
Mhm.
I think she was very protected by the finish, so I think
Yeah.
they're fine
So
there.
so in that regard, Miko Aono is now champion. Um, I think walk with me here. I think both Mariah and Bozilla will go towards the red belt. Um,
Okay.
because I was looking at it, and I was looking at the Dream Star, right? Uh, I was looking at the Dream Star, and I was like, there's so many people that like can contend for the white belt. But there's only like two, like that I feel like makes sense to challenge for the red, or maybe three. Nana is probably one of them. And I was like, how do you do that? And then I thought about it. I was like, well, the only reason why Mirai is here looking at the white belt is because Miku needed to beat somebody strong, right?
Mhm.
Like she needs to like her star need to be made. I feel like Mirai's lane is 100% the right red belt now. I don't feel like Mirai in Marigold is the white belt challenger that Mirai in Stardom was. I think Mirai is a
Mhm.
different beast now.
It's either her or Utami.
I feel like Mirai should be challenging Saori. And I mean that's been a thing they've been building. So
It
every
is, yes.
single fucking promo, Mirai's like, Saori, don't forget I'm out to get you.
And Julia
And
also talked down to Mirai after a
yeah,
tag
like
loss to
I
Sari, I
think
think,
there
as
is
well.
yes, you're right. It
Yeah.
was the Mirai Saku tag that Julia did that. Yeah. That's like I feel like Mirai should move up to the red belt.
She good?
Uh
Yeah.
especially with this Dream Star, I think she should be like a top contender for it. And I think she should afterwards be someone that's looking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it depends on Utami, honestly. If they want Utami in this kind of special match sphere, then you have to keep her away from the red belt. And if not her, then yeah, the most obvious one is Mirai. Especially
Mirai
with
has been the
Julia.
best like
Like
promo
Julia going
challenges.
to NXT talks have heated the fuck up. So I don't know how much longer you're gonna have Julia. So
I
it
feel
does
like
look
only a month,
maybe, yeah. Because
month maybe
that's
two.
really heated up. So yeah, I think Mirai is pretty much lined up there. Maybe you
Yeah.
do her and Iono as like a final. I don't want to watch it again, but that's something Rossi would do. He seems like the
I
kind of
don't know.
guy to run that
I
match
feel like
over and
Utami
over.
has to get to the final. I don't know how she doesn't.
I will have to see the blocks. I think Utami
True.
can lose to a Bozilla on the final day, and or draw out with
Yeah.
Bozilla on the final
Yeah.
day and send through Iono or something because he loves that, doesn't he? He loves the draw that sends through a wrestler who's not in the match. That is peak Rossi. So
The Godo, yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Godo. No.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's what Utami does in the GP. Her and Bozilla draw
Potentially.
out on the final day
Well, we'll
and
talk about the
sends through
GP.
somebody. Yeah, we'll
But
get to
um, but
that.
before we get to, are you done? Are we? Do you think?
We're done. Yeah.
Okay, I need. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
A rare Dylan will be right back.
I
So
know. Oh my god. Speaking of Utami Hayashishita, anyway, in our next match, IYO Sky defeated Utami Hayashishita in 23 minutes with a moonsault, of course.
boy, howdy.
Um, wow. What a dream match. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but then you see these two make their entrances and you're just entranced. And it's like, yeah, this is a dream match. Um, and I think the WWE prison stuff is really overused, but seeing actual American TV watchers be like, why is EO 3 times faster here? It's like the shackles were really off. Like this was
In the words
reeling the years
of
back.
Curtis Axel, the chains, the chains are off.
That is incredible.
They used to be his catchphrase. Correct.
Of course. Um, yeah, I thought like EO shut me up. You know, there was points where I wasn't sure if she could still go. And the Bailey match kind of had me going, okay, she can. This was unbelievable. She was so good here. Just in her element from start to finish. The way she had the crowd wrapped around her finger was so good. Um, I loved the masks. You know, they did the Queen's Quest masks. I thought that was excellent. That was so good. So petty, by the way. Impressive. Um,
Sai
yeah, just
Kamitani has been reacting very normally to it.
poor Saya, man.
She's
I
been
like,
posting through it, and I feel for her.
she's really
Especially
cool
given
and good at wrestling,
we're
and
gonna have
she's
to talk
just
about the
suffering.
stardom of it all, uh, about what's building there, and it's like, damn, this is a rough way for that faction to die. Um, yeah, so I was going through it. Um, sorry, I interrupted. Where you can.
Um, I kind of forget. Anyway, yes, they
That's
both
my bad.
looked cool. EO was EO, as we had kind of said. I do think though that a lot of credit has to go to Utami. She did not get swallowed up at all. I think it would have been very easy for her to get shown up by this supernova of charisma, this once in a generation talent, and she just didn't. She looked right on par with Io Shirai the entire time. Um, yeah, it's just one of those matches where you're just engrossed. You know what I mean? Like I just from the start to finish, I didn't notice any time go by. Nobody was messaging me. There was very few tweets going. Like people were just paying attention to the match,
Hmm.
and that says a lot about how well these two did. Um, and I saw people say it was 5 stars or whatever, and I don't agree. I wouldn't say it's all that. But it is definitely one of the best matches that I've seen this year. And they both deserve a
I
lot
put
of
it pretty
credit.
high up there. I gave it a
Oh yeah,
9.5,
it's high up
which
there,
is,
but
you know,
you know me.
um,
I think if we're gonna go 5 stars, that's a very
hey,
high.
I give 5 stars like once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be giving out any this year because it's been a year. Um, but yeah, this I said on Scotty's show the other day. This felt like a love letter to Io Shirai and everything that she did for Joshu Wrestling ahead of her departure. Um, and I imagine that was in large part Utami's, right? It was a love
Mhm.
letter from Utami to Io Shirai because you watch this match. She said, yeah, she didn't get eaten alive, right? She held her own and she felt like a star, maybe not as big of a star as Io, but uh, nobody ever did. So it's like, you know, uh, but it felt like Utami wrote this match for Io Shirai. You know what I mean? If you could write a match, which doesn't really happen nowadays, there's no Randy Savage who writes out every single spot of a match. Um, but like it felt like Utami was giving everything to Io. She walked up to Io and was like, "Hey, can you hit every cool move you've ever done on me except for the moonstomp, please?" Um, and Io did. And I thought that was really cool. It was really just it was really meaningful. And again, I also kind of went into this the other day. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because obviously there's plenty to talk about. We have a shit ton. Uh, but Utami is one of the most romantic wrestlers in the world right now. Um, in that I feel like every aspect of her game is heightened when there's a certain level of love involved and a certain level of passion involved. Not to not to co-opt Nanai's word there, but you look at the cage match and it's like there was really like a love there. There was a love for Queen's Quest, Utami's love for her friends, and like that was like it was a very romantic match, and that's what made it on top of all the action. That's what made it the best cage match, one of the best cage matches I've ever seen. Um, her matches, and I kind of brought this up. That's kind of funny that you know, it feels this way for Azumi, but not as much for Sai Kamitani. Um, that Utami's matches with Azumi are very similar to this one in that Utami has always been like, I want to make Azumi look as good as possible whenever we have a singles match. Whether I'm losing, whether I'm winning, regardless, I just want her to look like $1 million, and I will look good as a result too. Um, and that's how this felt. If like Utami is just better when there's love involved, and I think there was undoubtedly love involved here. Utami was incredibly selfless. I thought that every spot was insane. The Avalanche German was beautiful.
Oh man,
The like that was just insane. Like I don't know how
that and the Poison Rana were crazy.
the Poison Round was great. That's gonna be on fucking. That's gonna be like people always talk about like the Raw, like how like Raw intros have had Shelton Benjamin versus Shawn Michaels in that since like for the past 20 years somehow. Um, or maybe not raw interest, but like the tapes, right? The highlight tapes.
Yeah.
That is going to be one of those spots for Marigold. Is that Poison Rana? It was insane. Io hit the moonsault to the outside, and she like just straight up crashed onto Kizuna, like bonked her in the head so hard with her feet, and Kizuna just ate it. And I was like, that's a real worker right there. Um, yeah, I just loved it. I thought it was a real love letter to Io Shirai from Utami, and I thought it was Io showing that she's still the most naturally gifted professional wrestler maybe ever. You know what I mean? Like legitimately.
Hmm.
Uh, and the tombstone was huge for a WWE wrestler to use the tombstone. That was
Especially
the
when that's so
perfect.
synonymous with Mayu. Like that
That
is
too.
a new age Mayu thing. Like that's really nice.
Yeah, it's they're the phenoms, right? Io and Mayu. Um, but yeah, like that's such like a cool way to end it because and even after the match, she was like, "Yeah, I mean, I can't do that in WWE, so I need to do something a little special." And I did a few special things here that I couldn't do overseas, and I was like, that woman still has love of the game, and
Mhm.
I'm waiting for that love of the game run. I think it's happening someday.
What's gonna
I
happen?
I think I think we have a few more years of IYO Sky, and I feel like there's going to be a love of the game run for IYO because it's just she looks so happy out there too, and it was
Mhm.
it was really nice. And I'm sure she got paid a shit ton because WWE makes sure they get paid a shit ton. All bigger companies do if they're loaning out their talent, but I loved it. I thought it was a match of the year contender. It isn't my match of the year, but it was a beautiful match, and it was wrestling and romance, but not the company. The the I don't know what the word would be. Great match.
Um, this on Cage match is currently the 14th highest rated match of the year. So that
Damn,
is
that's kind of low.
pretty high praise. They see there's like 50 Will Ospreay matches up here.
I figured that's
You
why I'm
gotta
saying
account
it's
for the
kind of low. I
Ospreay.
was like, oh, brother.
As far as women's wrestling goes, it is number 2. So,
First one, Mayu versus who?
sorry.
Okay, I
Like
know
how
if it
you
was
knew it
Mayu
was
Saori or
Mayu.
Mayu
You
Shuri.
just knew it was Mayu.
I
That's
mean,
great.
she's had two, like it was either her and
Yeah.
Saori or her and Shuri.
I think the top like 5 women's matches of the year are all Joshi, which doesn't feel fair. I think there's been a lot of great American women's stuff, but yeah, it doesn't get rated as well.
Not
Yeah.
that like
Uh,
there's been great stuff this year, but I don't know if any of it's been like
hmm.
top five.
Guess there's no big Bianca Belair singles match this year.
Yeah,
She
I mean
usually gets it.
Io and Bailey was very good, but I didn't think it was like
That's
you
fair.
know
Mercedes Moné still hasn't hit the peak yet either. So
no.
yeah,
She
you're
doesn't have
kind of
that
right
Kyrie
then. Yeah,
match. The Kyrie match last year was
that's
tremendous.
great. But anyway, yes, that's how our year is shaking up. I think this. I maybe wouldn't put it as number 2 women's match of the year, but I certainly can't argue. It's definitely up there.
You're gonna find it funny what my number two women's match of the year is.
What is it? You have to tell me
It's
now.
it's Crazy Star versus FWC.
You're right. I do think that's that's insane. But anyway, yes, this
This
was
one could this
everything
one
I could have
this one
wanted.
could easily be above that, but
Yeah.
it's like kind
Um,
of neck and neck.
Yeah, this is everything I could have wanted though. It was great to see EO in her element for one night, and it is kind of interesting just how different she was from that WWE style. I do wonder what other wrestlers would be like. I'm fully campaigning for a Bailey match in Japan because she is such a student of the game. I feel like she would have one of the most insane matches. Like that's the thing with Bailey is, like her best stuff was her copying. Um, God, what was her name? Perez from Jimmer, I think, Portia Perez, and it like but
Mm.
she's just like that. She will know the best of the best, and she's gonna study it. And I think she would do so well in Japan. So yeah, I think it's good. I think if we do get more Marigold WWE stuff, I'm kind of
Bailey's
interested who
such
does
a
come over.
Bailey's such a lover of the boot that she would charge 50K for one appearance and give 48 of it to WWE.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Her and Mercedes are like big nerds for wrestling, and I love them for it. But Mercedes was like, "F this shit, I'm done." Whereas Bailey's like, "Hey, Papa H, I love you." And that's her only character
You need
flaw.
me to take a pay cut? I'll take a pay cut. I ain't
Yeah,
afraid.
her and Seth Rollins being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Papa, you know I got you, buddy." Yeah, Seth freaking is a very funny guy.
At
Um,
least he doesn't have a tattoo on his leg. We can move on.
that's true. All right. I think that's enough on Utami. I mean, listen, everybody
Yeah.
knows that was exceptional. We're not gonna be devil's advocates here. Um, the main event then of the show. This is where we're devil's advocates. Marigold World Championship. Sari defeats Julia in just under 26 minutes via referee stoppage, basically, to become the inaugural Marigold World Champion. Now, Sari winning is the perfect choice.
It's beast.
Um, she is one of the smartest wrestlers in the world right now. I think for as good as she is in the ring, what I've always appreciated is all the work she does outside of the ring, whether that's talking shit to Tokyo Sports or hitting up Scott and saying, "Hey, I have another interview. I need to build matches." That kind of stuff is irreplaceable, you know. And she gives Julia a run for her money in that department because I've always praised Julia for being a really smart wrestler in that she will build to a match every way she can through the same avenue as Tokyo Sports, Shoe Pro, columns, and stuff like that. I think having Sari there, not only for her work rate, but also what she brings attention wise, she is the perfect world champion. Having her as your world champion as a major promotion is one of the best choices anybody has ever made.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. Um, Saori's the best wrestler in the world right now. I mean, I think the only person that's like in the conversation is Mayu Iwatani.
Yeah.
Um, and even
Just,
then, it's like
Mayu, it's just, only Mayu.
it's. I mean, it's only Mayu, the probably
Yeah, she's just
top
Mayu
two, top
Iwatani,
three greatest wrestler of all time. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I mean, Saori's just insane. I am very happy that she won the belt. And as this match went on, the more I realized that Saori needed to win the belt. That was my feeling as this match progressed.
Mhm.
Was that I can't have this be what we do.
Yeah, we've sat through 4 years of Julia hit and miss big matches. I don't I am one of the biggest Julia fans around. I love Julia when she hits, but she does not hit nearly enough.
You
You
want
know,
to know something? This
what?
match, and I'm sorry to everybody who liked it.
Oh dear.
This match offended me to
No
the
way.
point that this is the lowest rated Saori match of the year. And I've watched her versus like Izuki, which was like it was a good match, but it wasn't
Okay, that's
like
crazy. That's a
yeah,
bit off.
no.
Have you rewatched it? Because I had to rewatch it to get it.
I have
I
not
will say that.
rewatched it.
It does age a little bit better when you're not coming off of IYO Sky.
Okay,
It is
that
a
that
little bit
probably
better.
tracks.
Um,
Um,
because I did watch it a second time, and it does improve it a lot. I am getting very chesty for some reason. I don't like this. But I think the thing is, we've said all this before. We've discussed Julia big matches since this show started. As
yeah.
soon as we started, she got pushed. We've been doing
When
this
we
a long
started,
time.
she was wipeout champion.
Yes. Like we have had the same kind of general criticisms of her big matches since we started. Her pacing isn't that great. Her grappling isn't that interesting. And sometimes at those finishing stretches, she's just struggling to fill time, and it's really obvious. And her best way to fill time is to just no sell and like run from spot to spot, and it just kind of takes you out of it. So that was kind of this match. Sari hit one of these most insane moves I've ever seen. She like hooked her arms and scooped her up and dropped her on her head. And Julia kicked out at one. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're better than this.
You don't got to do
So,
it there, man. Like, I don't.
yeah.
It
So
it.
it's the
I
same
feel
stuff as
like,
always, I think, with
but
Julia.
for
She is what
me,
she is.
this was harder
Okay, well, can
because
I give you, I said this in my VOW review as well.
okay,
Her and Sari really like to build matches through preview tags, but they couldn't do
yeah,
that
they did
here,
too.
and I think it really hurt them because they didn't get to start at "We want to kill each other." They had to build to "We want to kill each other." I think
Yeah,
that might have hurt them both because they didn't have a chance to preview it.
that's true. But excuse me, I had to burp. But the problem lies, and this is gonna make me sound kind of lame. The issue lies in Saori being too good at wrestling. Um, because I feel like those things that sets Julia apart, and I put that kind of in quotations, that sets Julia apart, Saori does and does them infinitely better. So
Yeah.
it felt like I was watching Azusa Inaba face Hikaru Shida in a UWF match. Like Julia was getting eaten the fuck alive. That's like but she wasn't, and that was the problem. Was that Julia not only like if I also think that the flow to this match, they did a Julia match instead of a Saori match. I think Julia would have been cool in a Saori match, but watching Julia, and you always complain about it, watching Julia like do powerhouse graps and like overpowering Saori for the first, 12 minutes, I was like, why are you? That's not how this dynamic should be. Julia, like, like, and eventually like it was that way because Saori was gonna win, and Saori had to get desperate. But I, I was like, man, if Saori was grinding away on Julia, and that's how the match started, I think it would have
Mm.
also just been
Which
better.
was the
I think they
Maya
could have,
match. I remember the
yeah, I
Maya
think they
match
could have
worked
built.
because they did that. They had Sari push her and
That
push
is
her and push her until
Saori's
Maya broke.
match. Like the
Yeah.
only person that that doesn't get that now is Chihiro Hashimoto and
Yeah.
Julia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sorry, Julia is not as good of a wrestler as Chihiro Hashimoto.
So,
Ice
one
cold
was like
take.
an Olympic level wrestler
Yeah,
and one
one's
is
literally like one of the greatest big match wrestlers in the world today, and the other is
all right, calm down. So,
I won't calm down. Her and Jordan was
I
crazy.
won't calm
Um,
down.
I refuse.
That's great.
Um, I
Jordan
could
Grace
I
rocks too, by the way.
yeah, shout out
Love
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace.
But like it was very frustrating because I was like, oh, they could have done it this way to make it better. And you're right. We've been talking about this with Julia for years, where it's like they could have done it this way to do it better. They could have done this to do it better. They could have eased off on this to do it better. There are so many ways to critique it, but ultimately it's just Julia. I just wish it was
Yeah.
Julia wrestling a Saori match and not Saori wrestling a Julia match. That's ultimately
Mhm.
my criticism of it. If you like Julia, it was a good match. If you like her style, it's a good match. But
Yeah,
if
this
you
is
like
another one
Saori
that's like,
style and want a good Saori style match, it's not what you're looking for.
yeah, this has an 8.7 on Cage Match. I think this has the Iono Mirai boost of this is my first time seeing it, and so
Mm,
it's cool. I know Backup Hangman was like, this was just dumb jock wrestling, and I was like, yeah, that's all Julia ever does.
yeah,
um, so it's very much lessened on me. I've seen her do it for 4 years now.
I also think that
Um,
their work in the tag match was also better.
It
Like just
was, yeah.
generally,
I just
yeah,
don't I think Julia was really thrown out of rhythm by the injury. She didn't have time to do the
that's
reps
possible.
or build up to this match the way she normally does, and it just threw her off.
The finish was also
Um,
shit.
I will say the finish only works if you can do this again, but number 1, I don't
You
wanna do
shouldn't,
this
and
again,
they won't.
and number 2, NXT is calling a lot harder than it seemed like they would. I'm surprised by how quickly that moved. It went from she's gonna work NXT a bit and probably do other stuff too. NXT wants her now. They want her now. They're gonna have her right here. Like it changed over like the course of a week. The conversation around her, um, and that's crazy because I got Stephanie Vacker, and they're just like, we want both. So, um, yeah, I don't know about Julia, and she hugged. Saori after, wasn't it? And I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
she's gone. Like she was emotional, she was crying. She hugged Saori. I just went, this is a woman who knows her time is up.
I think
So
my view of it, I think she probably wraps up next month,
possibly, yeah. They
and then
might
maybe she
try
comes
and
back
get her
for
through January.
first whatever
Yeah, they
for
might try and get her through January, but I don't know.
I don't remember what the fuck that show's called.
First
Uh,
Destiny.
really?
Yeah, I think so. We're going with the
I feel like
Destiny thing. We'll talk about it in a second anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, like
First
if you like
stream, first
that
stream, first stream.
first stream, okay, yeah. If you like that match, that's cool. We've just seen it with Julia. We've been there, done that. Um, I think the important part is this show ended and you had three fresh, strong champions. I think that's a statement.
Not
This.
a single member of the original 7 won.
No, they didn't actually. And Scott actually put this perfectly. I want to pull up the review because I think he said it in the review. Um, I should have done this earlier, shouldn't I? But
Well,
I,
yeah,
I only
probably.
I only thought of it now. I was like, you know what? Scott put this into words better than I could have. Um, so I'll get there. Um,
Great audio.
don't you
We have
worry. It
so
is.
much to talk about too. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he said that Marigold Summer Destiny was the real start to Marigold's run as a company. I think that's really true because they introduced the belts. You now have titles in circulation. You have a tournament to look forward to. You have tag belts to look
2
forward to.
tournaments to look forward to, yeah. Tournament this
This
week
is this
and
is a
tournament in
new
2 months.
this is now Marigold as a company, and you start that with Miko Aono, Natsumi Shizuki, and Sari as your champions. That is a hitter's row. Like that is insane when you consider it,
And we
and
get
that
that in
is
a
all you
tag.
needed.
They're tagging together this weekend.
Yes, yes, they are. So really, this show couldn't have ended any better when you end
Mm.
it with those people specifically standing tall. Um, so this show ended, and I was like, you know what, we're locked in.
Mm.
This was the vibe. This was the good energy that we used to get from the Stardom pay-per-views. Um, and yeah, I think they had a successful show. I think a lot of the first-time viewers were really impressed. And I don't know if they'll come back, but maybe they will.
Maybe for first stream. I again, that WWE friend of mine who, I call him a WWE friend. He watches Japanese wrestling. He doesn't watch much Joshi. Um, he was talking about. He was like, "Damn, if I do go to Japan, I'm gonna have to go see fucking first stream too." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's where it's looking." So yeah, I think it did leave a good impression on fans, new and old alike. Uh, I'm actually looking at the cage match. How fucking dare they give the Legends tag a 5.9? That's ridiculous. We have beef. I have beef with these people now. But whatever. It is what it is. I thought it was a great show. I had a lot of fun with it. And I am excited for the future of Marigold. I feel like that was a big part of it as well, is that like finishing off the show, you felt optimistic about the future, which is, you know, all I could really ask for in wrestling is to like feel like you're um moving towards something cool and moving towards more cool things in this case.
Man, we have so much to do. So we should just get on to the other stuff, the news and the preview from Marigold.
I served you up very well. That's the problem, but you were gone. I didn't even notice.
Oh, it's a shame, but I'll just pretend I
Yeah.
ignored you.
Okay.
Okay. So on the news front, we had, as you said, the announcement of Marigold First Stream. This is on January 3rd, 2025 at Ota Ward Gymnasium, the real home of Joshi Wrestling.
Fuck yeah.
This is a big show. This is probably, they're running this instead of a big December show. This will be on par with Summer Destiny. And it's obviously gonna have a lot of competition. There's a lot of tourists in Japan around that time, and it's a holiday season, so it might do well, but it is running up against a lot of competition. So
Yeah, isn't
very
there like a
interested
DDT
to see how that
show
goes.
and a Stardom show and maybe it was a Dragon
Probably
Gate show? I don't remember. I just remember
everybody. I'm sure
Sandre
everybody was winning.
Sandre was upset. Uh
Yeah.
'cause he was like, "What the fuck do you mean it's the same day as one of his favorite companies?" Um I don't remember what
It's
it
his
was.
fault
I
for watching
apologize.
DDT. In fairness, like that's who watches DDT in
You know what's
2024.
funny is that I don't watch DDT, but I defend it. I was like, "Come on, guys, it's not that bad." I was like, I wouldn't watch it, but
I don't
um,
watch that shit, but it's not that bad.
yeah,
That's great.
they have some cool guys, but yeah, Dreams Odaward is Marigold and Odaward. I am hyped. I am
Yeah.
pumped. That is the shit.
Waterward always looks
Odaward's like the
lovely.
best.
It
Yeah, it's like the best Joshi venue in the world.
Yeah, it just fits. The other news then is obviously the Dream Star Grand Prix. Rossi does not come up with new ideas. So we
It makes
have
sense. It's a good
a
name. It's a good name. I mean, it's close to the other one,
yeah.
but it's a good name. I think it works for what they're
Mm,
doing.
it's he used up all of his ideas in Argion, where he had like crazy tournament names, and now he's just like,
Yeah,
ah, just copy
ours
whatever All Japan
and
did.
Xeon
Yeah,
or
ours
Zion.
and Xeon. Yeah, Zion. Um, So this is a tournament that's going to kick off on the 31st of August with a double header, and it ends on the 28th of September in Nagoya. Not in Korkan, not in a big
Nagoya
Tokyo
is a
venue.
choice.
Nagoya. There it's actually spaced out fairly well. There's only what
There's 8
8
shows, I believe.
days,
Yeah,
8 dates, which is very
which
manageable.
leads me
Um,
to believe it will be a 16-person tournament.
yes, yeah, I
I
would
mean,
imagine
it's
so.
not going to be any more than that, but I think it's going to be 16, 8 and 8.
Yeah, I could see that. Then you have what 4 matches from each block on a show. Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
work. Okay. Um, So yeah, I mean, I was wondering when we had talked about this like months ago when they would run it. I thought they might do spring, but they're keeping it here. And it's interesting to do it after Summer Destiny because I assume Summer Destiny is a yearly thing. Um, so going right from that into the GP is an
I
interesting
wonder
decision.
if they do it and then have the challenger challenge at first dream, because that's a bit of, well, it's
Hmm.
actually not that far
We're
away.
waiting 2 months.
Yeah,
It's a
but
lot. It's asking a lot.
they do house shows. Like they do house shows. It's not like they're like passing up on 6 pay-per-views in between that time. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem with
Yes,
Stardom
but I don't know.
is
You'd
that
have to fill like at
they
least three
wait.
or four Karkens in that time,
Yeah, but I
and
mean they're
that's a
probably going
lot.
to do one defend the right. And I to be fair, for me, I've always thought that it's like winning a tournament, the point of it is to get the title match on the big show, right?
Mm,
Like
okay.
that's like half of the win is getting to wrestle in the main event of the biggest show, right? That's why like like the Royal Rumble is bigger than just beating the champion of the Elimination Chamber because it's like, oh well, you get to wrestle in the main event of WrestleMania. That's the big point.
Yes, yeah.
Same thing with the G1 and the Tokyo Dome. I think that like that works, but I would prefer if they had done it in like October in that case, or they had finished it
Yeah.
up in October, because then
Um,
it's like 2 months, yeah, again, but still,
I think we're gonna see a very interesting tournament.
or
I
they
was
are finishing
looking
up.
back at some of the old 5 stars and, I think they'll, like, copy some of that. A lot
Mm.
of draws, I'd imagine. And, I'd imagine they have it'll be a really good tournament because 'cause they've got a really good roster. Like, you're looking at a weakest member of possibly Nori, and that's your, like, lowest wrestler.
I
I
don't
think
know if
that's
she'd be
really
the
good.
lowest. I think maybe,
Her or, like, Koki or something, and that's still a
yeah.
very high bar when you consider
And I
everybody
also
else
think
that's gonna
I
be
also
in.
think those types of people are just going to like they're going to improve. Like that's the point.
Yeah, but
We
also
also
the
are
matches are gonna
we're
be short. I think the
avoiding the
matches are
elephant
gonna
of the
be
room
relatively short in
of
that if you're
Myla
doing
Grace
8.
might be in it.
Okay, but listen, if you're doing 8 per show, I think the matches are gonna be short enough that
Yeah.
nobody is exposed. So I think they're gonna do it really well. So I'm very excited for this. I think it's good. Timing wise, it's weird if they keep it at this point, but maybe they'll like move Summer Destiny earlier next time, or they'll like fill the gap. I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's our 5 star GP equivalent, the
Mm,
DSGP, Nintendo DS.
yeah.
Wrong with the
Dream
DS.
Star. Um,
Um,
third
let's
announcement.
see. Was there another announcement?
There was
How many
Egoist
announcements is there?
Michiko Ohmukai
Oh my
announced
god!
that
How
her
could I forget? Oh
she
my
came out,
god,
she slayed. She was fucking man. It's so funny that
dude.
like Kizuna Tanaka, the daughter of like a very high profile male wrestler from Japan and a very good women's wrestler from Japan, uh, she was just the ex, and her dad was shown in the crowd, mad that she didn't win. And then fucking egoist over here gets fucking TV time, pay per view time, to be like, yeah, my daughter's gonna be around at some point.
In fairness, an Ohmukai Jr. insanity.
Yeah,
um,
and hey, I think she, it seems like the vibe was that they have high expectations for her,
yes.
the
No,
young
and I can
egoist.
see why. I think Ohmukai is tall. She has a tall
Her daughter
child,
is
and
very
they're
tall, yes.
probably expecting another tall child. And Sonny has in the past said that Rossi loves tall. He does want to push them if they're tall,
Yeah.
which is pretty standard. That's how AJW had its last big boom. Was everybody was tall and big, and everybody was like, "Hey, that's cool." Um, but yeah, I imagine they're hoping she has a growth spurt. Um, I
She's
imagine
already pretty
Ohmukai.
tall.
She
Like,
is,
she's
yeah.
15 and she's pretty tall.
I'd imagine Michiko helps train her to some
Mm.
degree, and so she'll teach her some of those really fucking cool kicks. Because if you've never seen Michiko Ohmukai, she's the best clip wrestler ever. Because she would just like kick the face off of
Oh, I mean,
people.
Shino's been in karate
Oh
for a
my god,
while.
dude, she might be the best wrestler
She
ever.
she like her first Twitter post was like, "Oh, I went to my dojo, my karate dojo, and said that I'm transferring to a wrestling
Oh
dojo,"
sweet
and they
lord,
were all very proud of me.
this is
And I was like,
incredible.
"She's gonna be she's gonna be a killer if she, can get to that point." Because obviously she's
I'm
training,
locked
she's
in.
doing school, so she said that it's like there's not really a timetable for her debut. It's more
Mhm.
like sometime next year, vaguely,
Yeah.
because she's still, uh, heavy into her studies and
And
whatnot.
that happens a lot. I know Kizuna was announced a year in advance as well for
Yeah.
Wave. They said that. So that's really good. I think Omukai is great, and I think getting a second gen from her is really good. Rossi, I think, a tweet. I can't remember. He posted. He was like, "There's a lot of other wrestlers with kids who are like interested in having them wrestle here," which is pretty cool. Obviously, Rossi knows some of the best, and so
Yeah.
they want to send their kids to train. That's all good. Momoe Nakanishi, get your ass in gear,
I
get your
was
kid
thinking,
into
should I
training.
should I say her like specifically? But yeah, probably. Moe,
Um,
get your kid in the
Hamada,
dojo.
listen, Hamada, I know you're doing some mad
She
shit
has
over
her
there
own
in
dojo, man.
Mexico. Train some motherfuckers, send them over. Let's get this going. I want fully second gen psycho freaks in Marigold.
Hamada did say that she wanted to work training wise
She
with
did,
Rossi.
but also she is a luchador, and luchadors are probably more carny than anybody else. So
That's true.
I'm,
The
I
indie
wouldn't.
luchador especially, yeah.
Yeah, an indie woman luchador, like the most cutthroat business probably ever. Like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, that's really cool. An Omakai Jr. That was one of the big things. If you'd asked me, like, who do you want to have a second gen wrestler of, I would have said Michiko Omakai. Um, especially in
Young
a company that's
egoist is
not,
gonna go hard.
yeah, but especially in a company that's not as technical, because I think
Mm,
Omukai was hurt by the fact that Arjan was hyper technical, whereas her kid is obviously going to be in a promotion that's not as technical and will probably focus more on the beating the shit out of people.
yeah.
And also Michiko Omukai still wrestles, so she'll probably do some like mother daughter tags. I'd imagine that might be
We
like a
need we
debut
need to get
match.
Fukawa in there and uh have a
Yumi
tag.
Fukawa and
To be
Kizuna
fair, they
versus
were
Michiko.
they were a tag team, and Kazuna was like, "Oh yeah, she does like my little sister. This is awesome." I was like,
That's
"That's
great.
sweet."
That's gas.
That So yeah,
Um, I think that's everything. So
I
we
think
should
that's Marigold
preview.
outside of the preview. Yeah,
Yes. So we have two shows this coming weekend. The first one is in Shinkiba First Ring. It is on July 20th. We have Rhea Seto versus Kumo Minami versus Nagisa Nozaki. That is a Nagisa win.
Rhea
There is
Seto
England.
said on Twitter in English, "I'm scared!" Exclamation point.
I would be too after seeing what Nozaki did to Tay. That was
She,
some crazy
she's
shit.
she's like that, man.
Yeah, I know. You don't gotta tell
I'm
me.
telling.
Our next match is Misa Matsui versus Bozilla. Bozilla confirmed to be staying through 2025, courtesy of Corey from Fightful. Her
Mhm.
and Miley Grace are staying through 2025, and Zeta is heading home next month at some point. So Bozilla here, new gear, pissed off, ready to murder a tiny woman. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean
Just
that's an interesting match to be fair.
it is, but I mean Bozilla's winning. Just a stunt on the hose, Utami Hayashishita versus Chiaki. Just because, just cause.
Oh, I
Um,
called this the gay panic match.
that is
Um,
so true. That's so true.
You, it's not like you're about to like attack me, and they're like, "Damn, he got it.
No, like that's
He hit it."
just have to
And
have a moment
I say
there.
that endearingly. I say that
Yeah,
endearingly. I love them both to death. Um,
that's fair.
but yeah,
Yeah. So Utami and Chiaki. I mean, Utami might do a
she's
draw,
gonna. No, I think
but
Utami
Utami
wins,
likely wins.
but I wonder if Chiaki, because like Chiaki and Utami have been cool. Like they haven't been like buddies, but they've been they haven't like you know. I wonder if Chiaki like goes full tilt heel against her, or if there will be a story development there. It would be really cool if Chiaki Nozaki tried to turn Utami to the dark side. And Utami's
That'd
like,
be
"What?
great.
No, leave me alone."
That'd be very fun. Our next match then, ridiculous. Saori, Miko Ono, and Natsumi Shozuki versus Julia, Kizuna Tanaka, and Victoria Yuzuki. It is like marching somebody to their death. Oh my god. Um, yeah, either Kizuna or Yuzuki is taking the mother of all pins here.
Yeah, shouts out Kazuna though. I'm excited for her to get in there with the most absurd lineup of all time.
They put all the champions together. They say, "Yeah, you're done. It's over.
They saw that picture, they're
Um,
like, "This is it."
we need it." Yeah.
I mean, they saw that
Um,
picture and they said that so much that they put the two champions in a tag team together
that's
in
true.
the
That's true.
tournament.
Speaking of, our tournament to crown the Twin Star champions kicks off. This is going to be spread across 3 dates. It's ending at the Korkauen. I think they're doing semifinals and final on the Korkauen.
Yep.
It starts with Nao Ishikawa and Nanai Takahashi taking on Koki and Chika Goto. So
Yeah, Twin Tower is definitely winning.
I feel like we're getting an upset. I think Twin Tower as the first champions or like first finalists is getting to be a bit too obvious, and so they're gonna do a short run with
Didn't you
somebody else.
just say that Rossi loves tall women? I don't know if you know this. Now Ishikawa, not tall.
But he also loves Nanai.
Okay, that's true.
I feel like Nanai now is like first champions for a couple of
But
months. Let's them
Nanao,
through.
ooh,
Now.
Nanao.
Yeah,
The Passion Sisters just lost on the pay-per-view. Uh, I
what is
don't think
that?
that.
Oh, it's a phone.
Did, are you getting a phone call?
It was indeed a phone. Anyway,
It was.
um, I don't know what you said. It's we're you were
Oh,
disagreeing with
I
me,
was
so
just.
I just put it out of memory.
Was I disagreeing with you? Okay, whatever.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So our next match is Mirai
Oh,
and
it
Mai
was yeah.
Sakurai versus Zeta Steel and Myla Grace. I think it's pretty obvious. Mirai and Mai win there. They haven't said specifically, but I'd imagine the two teams that wrestle on the 20th are going to wrestle each other in the next round, and the same goes for the next day. So, what it looks like there is Mirai and Sakurai, and I would have them against Nanai and Now, which I guess would
Hmm.
fit. You'd get to pair Nanai up with Mirai for Korkan. I think
I
that
don't
would work.
know. See, that is interesting. I don't know. I'm not going to assume that that's how they lay it out because I don't know for sure. I have a
Yeah.
feeling that at some point in this tournament, Koki and Chika go to. Well, actually, so there are two options here.
Mhm.
Either Koki and Chikagoto end up facing Natsumi Shizuki and Miku Aono at some point in this tournament,
In the
and
final.
Koki beats Aono to set up a
Hmm.
title match,
Right.
or alternatively, either Kazuna or Yuzuki pin Shozuki and set up a title match there. I feel
Okay.
like that's the
Shit.
bigger thing there. So I don't know, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but those are my things, my thinkings. Yeah.
I can kind of see what you're going for. Um, I don't know though. I feel like there's just going to be an upset in this tournament, and I just don't know who it is. If not Twin Tower.
See, but no, but this is actually I'm on something. Um, I think they could do it so either Kazuna or Yuzuki gets the roll up on Shozuki. Keep wanting to call her
Hmm.
Sumikawa for some reason. It's been a minute. Um, but one of them get the roll up on her, and then they go to the final and lose to Twin Tower, which is a
Okay, but
relapse of what they're doing.
What if they're swerving all of us? What if it's Chiaki and Nozaki against Now and Nanai? Baby faces versus heels.
I mean, that would be awesome, but I
Because
don't think
like
they're doing it.
a lot of what we're laying out just seems too obvious. You know, I don't know.
Miko Aono winning should have been obvious.
Maybe, possibly, I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know. I think sometimes it's very obvious.
I will find it unpredictable. So that's what's good. Our next show then is in Nagoya on the 21st. We have Misa Matsui and Nao Ishikawa versus Koki and Gochika. That would be the Twin Tower getting a win. Over Now, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Who's
Nanai,
Nao's partner?
Misa.
Then yeah, probably Mao now. Misa Matsui, actually, this is her dream tag because she was like,
Oh, yeah?
"Damn, I don't got a tag partner, so I'm not in the tournament. That sucks." But
Oh.
oh, that was actually really funny. Sorry, I know we're out of time, but Misa Matsui was like, "Hey, now I hate actresses too. Now I quit. I I quit my acting gig. I'm all here. We can hate them together." And I thought that was so funny.
We then have Nanai and Zeta versus Bozilla and Mila Grace. Zeta's taking a fall since she's
Yeah,
going
but
home.
Nanai and Bozilla is sick.
That is
Always.
pretty beast. Julia and Mai Sakurai versus Utami Hayashishita and Mirai. Oh, Mai's taking a pin, but that's a good one.
It's all Stardom.
Yeah. A tag title tournament first round match: Rhea and Komomo versus Chiaki and Nagisa. They're going to get mauled.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's gonna
fun.
be awesome.
And then our main event, another tag title tournament match: Miko Ono and Natsumi Shizuki versus Kizuna and Yuzuki. So you
It's like
have one of Victoria, Yuzuki, or Kizuna getting an upset to get a title shot, and maybe lose to Nozaki and Chiaki then by nefarious means.
it's possible.
We can talk about
I
it and this later. Oh my God, is somebody at the door now?
this is lovely.
I know a few people who are going to be very happy at the return of who's at the door. Their favorite bit.
That is a good bit.
My God, what a day this has turned out to be. We don't even have Stardom covered yet. This is crazy. That's Marigold. Yay. Hooray.
Did we finish? Yeah,
I don't
well,
know, man. It
let's just.
doesn't matter. Okay.
We'll talk more about the tournament
Stardom.
next week when it's a bit more.
Yes. Yeah, we will.
Maybe I don't think it is actually.
Stardom did so much.
Yeah.
So, Sayaka Kurara is out for the next two shows, and I think we should all just retire. I think we should all just go home without Sayaka Kurara. Hanako is, they've announced her send-off matches before she heads to America. She was
Send off
announced for
matches on Rendezvous.
yes, and she was announced for New Texas Pro already in
Yeah,
America, which is cool. If you're gonna work anywhere, you got to work the Texas Indies. That's where all the great women are.
true.
That's where reality wrestling is, and Mission
Hmm.
Pro. So you've got a lot of good stuff there.
Booker T
Uh,
booking Hanako Yoda.
maybe. Where else is? Oh yes. Okay. So announced the matches for Rendezvous the Wonder on the 27th. Hanako US Send Off Tour. Mayu versus Hanako. Crazy match. World of Stardom Championship preliminary tag to be decided. Participation selection tournament final. The deciding match for either Red Stars A or Blue Stars A block will be announced at a later date. Tam Nakano versus Sayaka
I'm gonna
Kurara.
start yelling, man.
Rina versus Rana Yagami for the future belt. And then from the Wonder of Stardom title, Saori Anou versus Natsupoi, as well as other matches. So that is how they are trying to sell Sapporo on one day with Rina and Saori Anou versus Natsupoi. Then Stardom Sapporo World on the 28th, Hanako US Send Off Tour. Hanako versus Aya Sakura. The deciding match for either the Red Stars A or Blue Stars A will be announced at a later date.
We'll talk
Mayu
about
and
that
Hanan
later.
versus Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. God bless tag team wrestling. High Speed Championship. Saya Kamitani defends against Mei Sarah. And then in the World of Stardom Championship match, Maika defends against Natsuko Tora, as well as other matches to be announced. they announced how the GP people will be getting in. um, God, there's so much. Oh yeah, Ami Soria is out of the 5-star Grand Prix. She hurt her knee. The Japanese all says ACL, but then Tom was like, "No, it's not an ACL. It's
It's an
just."
ACL.
He was like, "It's something else," and I was like, "Yeah, as the English account guy, you should probably have said that on the English account, not your personal account." But it is her like meniscus or something in her knee. Not She didn't tear her ACL, but it says she tore her ACL. I don't know. Stardom, why are
To be
you
fair,
lying?
if she tore her ACL, I don't think she would be walking to the press conference.
No, yeah, and definitely not wrestling on it for 2 years. So it must be like a partial thing, and then her meniscus is like what she hurt now, and that's why she's getting 2 of them seen to. But anyway, Ami Soria is out of the 5-star Grand Prix. She's
Which
replaced by Ronnie Yagami. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think is a shame because really,
Sorry,
I
fuck
think
you.
my bad. I think that that this was like Ami's for me as somebody who's not an Ami fan. This was like Ami. I mean, she's in a bad block, so it doesn't really matter. She would have been fucked either way. But this was kind of her chance to like be like have consistent outings, right? Uh, like that's just how the 5-star is. If you're like a weaker wrestler, I mean, that's how Mina kind of showed up. Was that like she was like for a long time, and then she had a really good 5-star, and everybody was like, okay, I can see you, I can see the vision. I haven't seen the vision with Ami, so I was kind of hoping that this tournament was gonna like you know unveil something. So it is a shame that she's out of it. And Rana being in it is a tall ask of her. She was just in Catch the Wave. I know it was a lighter tournament than it usually is, but that's still a thing. And she is a newer wrestler. And also, does this mean she's winning the future belt?
I hope so. Probably not though.
She might.
I hope so.
The future
Ronnie
belt's
Yagami.
usually a ticket in.
Let's go.
I'm kind
Let's
of
go.
shocked Rena's not in it actually. Aren't they like 18? Like, aren't they like?
I
Are they
don't
still not
know. I
done with
don't think they
school?
can travel everywhere still, so
Oh,
that's why.
I could have
Um,
swore that they were. You know what?
I
No,
don't know.
they probably finish up in the spring because that's how
Who
Japan
knows?
works. Yeah.
The deciders to get into the tournament are split as follows. So Blue Stars A, it's Miyu Amasaki versus Aya Sakura, beast match in the semifinal, and they will take on the winner of Lady C and Momokogo. Less beast, but it's probably Lady C versus Kevin,
Yeah,
Queen's
and
Quest versus
Kevin
Queen's
over.
Quest, and then Kevin goes over and has the big Ano match in Kyoto.
Kyoto. Yep.
Okay. Red Stars A then, really stinky. Waka versus Sayaka Kurara in the semifinal. Please, for the love of God,
Sakura.
Sayaka. And then it's either, I think it's the winner of this match. It's Unimon versus Uraka. And I think the winner of that will eventually go through.
Yeah, it's gonna be Unimon or Ruaka. I said it was gonna be Ruaka.
I don't think it's Uraka because isn't that Tora's block? So then you
Yes,
have
and
her and Tora.
that seems like a singles match they would love to run. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah, but they're too similar though, style
but
wise.
that's the point. That's the beauty of it. I think
Yeah,
that
but
would
for
probably be one of the
everything
most
else, it's
fun
less
matches
fun.
in the block.
I think
Yes,
Unimon on that
I
block
think
is better.
Unimon goes through.
Yeah,
Which is cool. You know, she's there.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Red Stars
yeah.
A is Hazuki Poi, yeah?
hmm
Okay, see that block I want to see Unimon in. Unimizumori versus Hazuki. Sounds
Could be
exciting,
fun.
like incredible. So who's to say? I do think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be Kevin versus Lady C, and then probably Walker versus Unimon, because then you have the Cosmic Angels versus EXV or something.
Mm.
But yeah,
As
they
long as
also
one of the powerhouses wins over there, I'm cool. I mean,
yeah.
Sakura wants to
Dude, listen, man, if she wants to
wants to
start
go through.
winning, let's go.
That's all her.
She would have the best GP, I think.
She'd be pretty cool.
Sakura, yeah. Um, they announced 2 matches for the 23rd of July at Corkin, Stardom Nighter in Corkin,
Wait, that's
Hanan,
no,
and
we're previewing that. We're previewing that right now.
are we?
It's the
What?
17th. Yeah,
They've only announced
that's
2 matches.
but we're previewing it because that's
Okay, great,
in the
cool.
next 7 days.
Okay, now the hard part: Stardom wrestlers outside of Stardom.
Mm,
Over the past week, there was a Sendai Girls event at Korkauen Hall. No, actually, I should start with Wave. So Saya
yeah.
Kamitani won Catch the Wave, guys. Saya Kamitani won Catch the Wave. Historically, one of the most, I think, widespread tournaments ever. I mean, when you look at the winners of that thing, adding Saya to that is insane.
It is the
She's
biggest
gonna,
women's tournament, like freelance women's tournament in
oh yeah, like
wrestling history.
100%. This used
Undoubtedly.
to be where the best wrestle. Like Catch the Wave
Mhm.
used to be the tournament.
Up until like only a couple years ago, really. A few years ago. Yeah, a
Did
few years
weird
ago.
stuff. It's kind of upsetting that Kohaku didn't win. I feel like for Wave fans, a Kohaku Ascension is the best thing you can do right now in that
Of
promotion.
the 4 semifinalists,
I thought you were gonna say
Sayo
4 Wave fans.
no, yeah, there's 3 of them now. But no,
Yeah.
of the 4 finalists, Saya made the most sense or the least sense. I wouldn't have picked Umasaki, but even so, Umasaki went to a draw with Miyazaki. Her getting the belt would like not make sense, like later. I wouldn't do it, but like, and then Itsuki Aoki is like always like there. She's like Wave's go to. I don't
Mm.
know what like, and Kohaku is is Waves. Like that's the Wave wrestler.
Yeah.
Sai Kamitani was undoubtedly the last the last of the 4 I would have picked as a Wave fan, who hasn't been able to watch Wave this year because Wave doesn't air anywhere. Or they do, but it's hard to find. But yeah, so Sai Kamitani winning that, fucking crazy. That was a choice. Um,
Kind of ruins as well some of the projected plans. Like you can't do the fallen hero babyface thing if she's Wave champion.
well, she's not going to be a fallen hero babyface. But yeah, she's also
Yeah, that's
not
what I'm
winning
starting to
the
worry
5
about.
star. Like that's
Yeah,
not
that does
possible.
rule out of the 5-star to a degree, which makes Tam the homer. Um, it's just weird. I don't know. Like is Saya versus Yuki Miyazaki a ticket mover for anybody?
I
Like I
don't
love Yuki
think so.
Miyazaki. Don't get me
As
wrong,
do I.
but her and Saya does not fill me with excitement at all.
I mean, it could.
If they did a switch and it was like
And the
Yumi
problem
Oka or
is,
something, but they won't do a switch.
also is, and we'll talk about this a little bit. Sai Kamitani is turning heel next week.
I feel like that is happening, but I also said that last month, so I don't want to sound like a
Yeah,
broken
but
record.
but
But
no,
her and Maika
but
are
you know what's
definitely
funny?
a little bit too buddy buddy.
You laid this out 2 months ago.
Did I?
Yes, you said, "Oh, Saya's going to cost Maika against Natsuko," while
Oh
Queen's
my
Quest
god,
was still healthy. Like there was
crazy.
no there. Queen's Quest was fine, but you were like, "Oh, that's how I think." Because we started getting this idea of like, what if what Saya turns? Um, and you were like, "Fuck," and you were like, yeah. So you said this in a group chat like months, like a long time ago, and I
That's
was like,
crazy.
"Holy fuck, they're doing it."
Um,
We'll talk about
yeah.
that later.
Heel Saya as Wave Champion. Is that anything?
I'm gonna scream and
The thing is, though, this actually did like the best Wave number at Corkin in a while. They did just under
it's the
650.
Catch the Wave final though. That's
Yeah,
usually a
but even then, it
pretty hot
hasn't been
ticket
doing that
in
good.
Corkin, or not in Corkin and Wave. Yeah, no, I mean to some degree, I get what you mean, but I imagine Sai is a better ticket mover than Itsuki Aoki is because Itsuki Aoki works everywhere. But would I put the championship on her? No. Would I put her against Yuki Miyazaki?
Well, yeah, but
Also
I think we're in
no.
a very different landscape, so I don't know. I mean,
True.
Saori Anou is the Sendai Girls World Champion now, so
That's
but
true.
I don't know.
Yeah, but and that's not great either. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not bad. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Oh, Rana was the runner-up. Hanoka won, which is also a good thing. Hanoka's awesome.
Yeah, that's good for a wave. I'm starting to think Heel Saya drops to Kohaku or something, and that's
Oh
the plan for wave.
Jesus.
Um,
Probably.
I have no real interest in a wave partnership with Stardom anymore. Um, there's just nobody in wave, and Kohaku doesn't do much that May Sarah doesn't anyway.
And
Um,
they just beat
it won't work.
uh
They won't work together anyway.
yeah, they beat
Um,
they beat like the 2 wrestlers that Wave
yeah,
has
I
outside
mean,
of
the
Yuki
only thing I want is
Miyazaki. They're going
Hirota.
to
Like
beat
Hirota annoying people,
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's
I
worth
don't yeah, I don't
partnership.
know.
So who knows? But yeah, that's Wave. Let's see.
What do you want,
Who
Hirota
else?
versus Fukigen Death? Oh wait, you can just get
I want
that. Like,
Hirota versus Saki Kashima.
that's valid.
That is quite literally the greatest match you could ever do.
It's up there.
Is the Sendai show on Cage? Yes, it is on Cage Match. Okay. So Sendai girls. Dash Shizako beat Momo Watanabe in a hardcore match. Pretty
That was the
standard.
first time I felt Momo Watanabe was cool in like several years.
I've told you she's good, and you just
She
wouldn't believe
bled
me.
from the back of her head and just powered through.
It's true.
It was a really good hardcore match. I think Dash,
Well,
when she
Dash has
hits,
perfected that style.
is
I mean,
awesome.
she got a good one with
But
Aja last year, and Aja is not very
yes,
mobile anymore.
but Unagi,
But Inagi doesn't count.
I'm just saying. Not to rain on, I know Unagi's many people's favorite wrestlers, but that Dash match kind of stinky.
Well, yeah, but you don't put Dash, you don't put Unagi in a hardcore match. That's just silly.
I would have said the same thing about Makito, but
Is Maki Ito good in hardcore matches?
no.
Oh, well, yeah.
She's
So
always in them.
that's true. Well, yeah, but Maki Ito doesn't count anymore. She's lost. She's lost cause. So that, I mean, look, Momo's always going to lose to Dash. Dash is very protected.
Yeah.
And then in the main event of that,
The winner of
Korkan,
that
and this,
match was definitely going to challenge for the belt, though. So
yes.
the tracks.
And this, I will say this about Stardom as well. This was a packed Sendai Korkan. They
Mhm.
don't announce numbers, so I don't know what it was. But I remember not long ago, Chihiro Hashimoto cutting a very upset promo after a Korkan, like, these seats are empty, buddy. I will fill them. Don't you worry. And so I think I'm not going to credit Stardom entirely for this attendance. I think Sendai has been really good this year. And obviously you had Jordan Grace and Chihiro Hashimoto. But I definitely think Ano versus Iwata helped the pack Korkan. So I think this is another case where the Stardom partnership is good for these companies. And it is a rising tide helping everybody, kind of. So, that's my thought. But anyway, for the Sendai and Wonder titles, Saori Anou beat Mika Iwata in 15 minutes. And a whole new
This.
generation of Joshi fans got Iwata'd. And I couldn't help but laugh because this is the cycle of torture
Why
that
is
has
she such
existed
a
for Iwata
geek?
fans. This happens to
She's so
Mika Iwata
cool.
every 18 months. We get our hopes up and they get crushed. Mio Momono's the same. Every 2 years, we get our hopes up, and then they're crushed, and we move on with life. So welcome to the club to those who are new to the Mika Iwata torture chamber. We have fan meetings on Wednesdays to discuss our traumas. There's biscuits. It's very nice. So welcome.
Gravy?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Saori Anou is the Wonder Champion again. I
And the
saw people
Sunday Girls
kind of
World Champion.
upset by her being Wonder Champion again. I do get it. I think a 50-50 change of belts is a bit silly, but as soon as she lost it,
It
I
was
was like, she's just winning it back.
it was
She might
ridiculous.
just
No,
win it back.
they could have given her Iwata one defense. They could have
Yeah,
had
but
somebody
that's
challenge
not how
her
Iwata
here
works.
and then have Soriano win it. Like, I
That
don't
is
know. It
not
just
how
felt
Iwata works.
ridiculous.
That is just not how it works. But anyway, I don't love it, but I think it was an interesting way to throw people off before they did
I also
Ano versus
do
Koi.
also think this means that I don't know if Miki Iwata, in fact, I don't think Miki Iwata is the X, either of the X's in the 5-star, because
It
it
has to
feels
be
like she
somebody
just
from
was.
a different company, though.
Yes, but it feels like she was just completely vanquished. It's like she just fucks off now, and Minami is the Sendai representative.
Maybe. I
But
don't
yeah, I
know.
can see someone from a different company.
Her
Put
and
Sakura
Ano.
Hirota in that shit.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Poor Iwata. That's all I can say. Match was
Yeah,
good-ish. I feel like every match, all the last 4 matches on the show were like really good, but not great. And then they all went like 10 minutes, so that's probably why. But
I
yeah,
thought
a
Hash
weird
versus Grace
end to
was
the
great,
show.
but yeah, I
That's
agree
fair.
otherwise.
I loved the preview bits from Grace and Hashimoto in the tag. I don't know if you saw that, the one with Aja.
But
They
didn't
did
you
some
also
cool shit.
say that it was also kind of lame at certain points?
Well, okay, so they did a headbutt exchange where they actually just high-fived instead of headbutt, and I was like, this is
Love
the
that.
worst shit ever. So I was being dramatic. I will admit for the first time in my life to being dramatic. That is the Sendai situation. Saori Anou is now the Wonder Champion.
If
I
we
think
ever
she's
start
going
a
to drop the Sendai
podcast
belt.
about Sendai girls, we're calling it the Sendai situation.
Yes. I think Saori Anou was dropping the Sendai belt right away. She did in True Pro say, I want to defend against Miko Satomura. And I went, you are a dumbass.
Well,
Miko
either okay.
Satomura is going to paste you all over Niigata.
Does
Like,
she
it is
get
over.
to Mako, or does Dash take it? Because I need Dash to finally win this godforsaken belt.
I think they do 2 big shows. So they will do one with Dash losing and one with Miko reclaiming the belt. Because they tend to run the big show in Niigata and the big show in Sendai. And so they'll need 2 matches.
You know, I don't have a camera on, but if I did, you would see the disappointment in my eyes.
That's fair. That's fair. Dash is never touching this belt. But then again, we all thought Iwata was never touching it, and she did win it.
Yeah,
So
how did
who's
you
to
want to
say?
get it before fucking Dash Chisako? Wait a minute. This is fucking.
Dash doesn't want to try anymore. Dash just wants to do her hardcore matches and like be in tags with Hiroyo, which is cool.
Then give her her
Um,
own belt.
yes.
Give her the Sendai Girls
Bring back the
Hardcore
junior belt.
Championship.
What happened to the junior belt? Um,
Shh.
let's see. The other Stardom involvement. This is not on Cage Match, I don't think. Oh no, it is. The JTO 5th anniversary show again. 695 at Corkin. Better number than they usually do. They draw in like the 300s sometimes. So I am crediting this one to Maika. I won't lie to you. Because Maika defended the World of Stardom Championship in the main event and defeated Tomoka Inaba in 20 minutes. Aoi, I think, came out and like confronted her after, so they might be doing an Aoi versus Maika match, but I cannot say for sure.
Or they might be doing an Aoi versus Tomoka Inaba match because they both have titles.
Possibly. I keep
Unless it
forgetting that they have
specifically
2 women's
said.
belts.
Yeah, unless it specifically
I think it
said,
was
oh,
Maika though that Aoi was
okay.
squaring up with, but I haven't seen it. I don't know if it aired, so it's
It
not
hasn't
picture.
aired yet.
No. There is another thing. Not looking back, looking ahead. This weekend, Sendai Girls is running on the 20th in the Sendai Pit. They've announced that this show will be live on Wrestle Universe, so it's the
Fuck
good
yeah.
stuff. Mika Iwata is taking on Mina Shirakawa. I'd say
Need to get that
Iwata
one
wins
back.
that as the sorry for jobbing you out match. And then Team 200 kg, possibly best tag team of the year, take on Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki. Kevin and Big Hash better do the greatest exchanges in the history of wrestling, or I will be upset.
That could be really cool. I mean, I retract my. Excuse me. I retract my earlier statement. We've been running for so long that I'm burping through it.
I don't know
But
how we're gonna cover Stardom. Like, there's genuinely
we'll
no
just have
time.
to. We'll just have
Our
to.
recording is not gonna get. We won't be able to upload it.
Uh-oh. Well, no, we started late. We started like 20 minutes late, so we still have.
Yeah, but we're also half an hour late now. We have 20 minutes
True.
tops, maybe.
Okay. Well, Mika Iwata might beat Mina and be like, "Hey, I won the tournament. You're not good enough for it." Blah blah blah. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
that
boo
would be
boo.
cool. I like it.
That's possible because Mina's not in it. Maybe like this match might be like a de facto entry into the 5-star qualification for Mika Iwata.
Um, there were 3 shows this past week. I
Yep,
have no idea. I don't think we can get through all this.
we can. I believe in it.
Should we just do overarching thoughts? Because there wasn't a lot happening, but there is some
Sure.
very specific stuff. So the key things that happened here were Maika and Saya. So Maika and Saya paired up on most of the shows. They work really well together. They get wins. Just last week, Mina was like, "Hey, Saya, you work really well with us here in ENXSV. Like, this is a really good pairing." And so the
They
fact that
probably should
Maika
have
and
just killed
Saya
Queen's Quest and put her there.
probably the fact Maika and Saya are so buddy buddy, and Maika was even like, "Oh, I want you to second me everywhere," and Saya was her second for the match with Tomoka Inaba, and she will be seconding Maika for the match with Tora. I am being led to believe that the current pairing is building up to a Saya turn on Maika. That, or they are very long-term planning for Mina to go away and are going to have Saya as the number 2 for ENXSV. It's one of those two. I don't know which one, but it's going to be one of those two.
I think it's the first one because of how dumb swerves are.
That's true. They've been
Because like
very overt
this
with
doesn't
this.
this doesn't make any sense. Um like her turning and joining a Oedo Tai makes very minimal sense outside of like she's like you know uh disgraced, I
Mm.
guess. Like that's the only backing. But even so, it's like her and Micah just work well together, but they work too well together. So it's obviously not going to last. And Micah inviting her to second her to help her from Oedo Tai bullshit makes it
Yeah,
sound
that's
like Oedo Tai
very.
bullshit
That's
is going to
that's
be
what do you always call it? Chekhov's gun.
yeah, it's
Very
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. Yeah.
Um, if Sai is there, she will act.
Yes.
In what way? Probably the way we all expect fucking this to like. What do you? What other way, man?
Mm. No, I will say I do have some pause about Saya costing Micah because they did tease Micah Tam. They very much said Tam is coming for Micah for the red belt. So
Yeah,
I
but they tease
have
everything,
some
man.
pause for that. Yeah, but Tam winning the GP seems like a lock now at this stage. So
Yeah,
Tam,
Tam versus Natsuko, the girl who injured her,
it could be
and
either
the girl
one.
who's
Yeah, it
been
could definitely
they've
be
been
either one.
beefing
But I
for
don't know. I think Tam Micah is a
a decade.
better Tam Micah is a better Sumo Hall main event than Tora Tam. Like they would have to do a lot to heat Tora up to that level. I think.
I don't think they would. I think putting the top heel against the top babyface makes sense. Even though I think that they're
Yes.
both kind of bad at their job. Like I don't think Tam is a very
You
effective top
just praised
babyface.
Tam to me the other day.
No, I
Don't
think
do
I think
this.
Tam has had a great year, but I don't think she's had a great
This is
top
crazy.
babyface year. I think that's the point. I think the fact that she's not positioned
Okay,
as a top babyface makes her so good.
I
But she's
guess.
going to be. And Tora is the top heel. It's not great, but it will probably happen.
Maybe. The other key point from these three shows was the formation fully of the new unit with Starlight Kid, Maysera, Azumi, and Kevin. Suzu Suzuki is back on the 23rd, so that's going to fully complete them. First, it was Kevin. So Kid and Kevin wrestled, and afterwards, Miyu Amasaki, after losing, was like, "Okay, I think I can join you." May and Azumi won a tag, and then
No, they didn't
Azumi
win. They
was like,
lost.
"Okay, well they lost." But after that, Azumi was like, "Okay, you know what? I see it. I'm in." And then I think they had a 4-on-4 match the next day, and they did really well.
Yeah, they
Was
won.
that against Stars?
I think it was against Cosmic
When did they
Angels.
wrestle Stars?
They
Was
won
that
against
the week
Cosmic
before?
Angels here. That was a week before.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they had a 4-on-4 with Cosmic Angels.
Yeah. Miyu
Yeah,
actually
they
picked up the win in that match
actually
against
did.
Cosmic
Actually did.
Angels.
They're heating her up for that GP run. That
Fuck
seems
yeah.
pretty clear.
Oh, and Mace.
Um,
Okay, one spot that I need to call out. It was probably the coolest spot of the weekend from Stardom. Mace Sarah fucking launched Unimon with a German suplex.
oh yeah, it's a beast.
What? What the fuck was that? Like it was just like in the background, like it was like in the corner of the screen. She just tosses her across the ring like she's fucking Brock Lesnar, bro. I was like, what the fuck?
It's cool.
But yeah, and then Miyu won. Beast.
Yeah. And that's kind of it. They did say we're gonna have like new theme and new logo and a
Yeah.
name soon. So I'd imagine they'll debut that at the Corkin when Suzu's back, and they can complete the unit. Um, but I don't think anything else really happened on these shows. I did watch through them. There was just the way to tie doing way to tie things, undercard wrestlers being beasts. Just the usual stuff.
Yeah, so
Um,
otherwise I thought Rian versus Suzuki was fun. I thought it was probably the best
mhm.
Rian match because Suzuki was bumping her ass off for her. And Lady C had good performances on two of these shows. I
The
didn't watch the
Queen's
third.
Quest split, despite being panned, has really led to a lot of people being revamped. And in hindsight, maybe we should be thankful. Maybe not the way it happened, but I think it's definitely breathed
To
new
some
life into
degree,
Lady C.
like Lady C is definitely
Into
better outside of Queen's Quest, but I could have told you
Yeah,
that a year ago.
that's true, but they had to get there still. So
Yeah. I'm still not fully sold on how this Crazy Gen thing's gonna work. I like it because I like wrestling and they're good at wrestling, but I also am not sold on just like semantics of it. Uh, and then Hina's not around, and Saya Kamitani is.
I think Saya's
If
doing
I
good
could
work though. Saya and
if I
Micah are a
could
good tag
whistle
team.
her going down like jumping down a cliff, I
Yeah,
would. I can't whistle, but
her
you know,
her and Micah are doing good work together. That's
until
all I
they
need.
don't. I mean,
Okay.
I agree. I think that they should preserve this tag team because it's some of the best work Sai has done since her injury. It
Yeah,
just like
she
feels
works
like
well with these
she's
power wrestlers. It
yeah,
just fits.
but I worry.
Okay. We have 3 shows to preview. We're just gonna jet through this. 19th of July, Stardom and Sendai. That's why Stardom wrestlers are on the Sendai show the next day because they're in town anyway. We start with Azumi versus Rani Yagami. Good match. Azumi wins.
Yes.
Okay. May Sarah versus Lady C versus Rian. May
Also
Sarah.
could be cool. May Sarah over Rion. Yeah.
Yes. Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki versus Yuna Mizumori and Aya Sakura. Another good match. Wow. Kid and Azumi. Or Kid and Amasaki.
Yes.
Mina
Maybe.
Shirakawa, Zena, and Waka Tsukiyama versus Momo Hazuki? Hazuki?
What?
It
Yeah.
says Momo
Hazuki.
Hazuki.
Wait. What?
Oh, it says
Wait.
Momo Hazuki. Anyway, Hazuki, Ida, and Momokogo. Yeah?
Oh, they mistyped Momokogo. Oh
Oh,
wait, they mistyped
I don't
Ida.
know.
Wait, what the fuck?
Oh,
This is weird.
they messed it all
No,
up.
it's
Okay.
dumb. Whatever.
The Stars C team. Guess E Nexus V? Yeah, Mina will
No.
go over
Oh,
one for
Momo.
them.
Yeah, Waka
Yeah.
probably over Momo.
Siri Konami and Saiki Kashima versus Momo Watanabe, Tekla, and Fukigen Death. That's probably God's Eye over Death. As the tag
Don't
champs.
care.
They are previewing. Tekla's back. Saori Anou, Tam Nakano, and
I
Natsupoi
love how
versus
you heard me say
Mayu,
don't care, and
Hanan,
you're like, oh yeah.
Mayu, Hanan, and Koguma. Okay, that's good stuff right there.
That's good.
Don't know who loses. Probably Hanan. They seem to hate Hanan now. So
Yeah,
fun.
probably over Hanan.
All right. Maika and Saya Kamitani versus Natsuko Tora and Rocca. Wow.
Echo.
Maika and Saya are gonna win
Yes,
because Saya's turning. Maybe. But
probably.
yeah, Sakakara is off the shows. That's why life is pain. The next show is on the 21st of July. Stardom in Chiba in the TKP Garden. We have Hanan Saida and Rana versus Rina, Rocca, and Azusa Inaba. Holy shit. I like that.
Oh, they didn't misspell Momokogo's name. It's just the translation got fucked up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It's
that sounds
good. I
cool.
like that. Rana loses. Rana
Rana and
wins.
Azusa. Rana.
Rocca wins.
I actually don't know because this is a preview for 2 matches. This is a preview for Rina
Oh,
and
they love to
Azusa
have people take
versus
pins. Yeah,
Wingori.
Hanan or Ida is losing. They love trading pins.
Potentially, I don't know. They might lose the tag belts.
I don't know. To
I don't
Rina
think so,
Azusa?
but they might.
Probably not. I don't know if you double
Then
up.
yeah, I could see them
Yeah.
rolling someone up there.
Okay. Yuna Mizumori and Rian. Good match. Yuna Mizumori wins.
Yes.
Saya Kamitani versus May Sarah versus Natsupoi versus Fukigen Death. This is a high speed 4-way. Sarah over Kamitani seems pretty clear.
I've
Or
been
Kamitani over
guessing that.
Sarah.
I've been guessing that for the past like 4 times they've been together since that
That's
match was
true.
announced, and that
Now
hasn't
they're
happened.
doing a
So I'm
preview.
just
So
yeah, I don't know.
who knows?
That sounds fun though.
Yeah. Good. Mayu Utani, Hazuki, Koguma, and Momokogo versus Saki Kashima, Tomoki Inaba, Hina, and Lady C. That is a Stars win? Surely?
Oh, this is in Chiba. That's
Yeah.
why. JTO's there. The JTO dojo's in Chiba.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because I was
You
gonna
got
say,
stars?
why are
You got
both
stars?
Unibus there? Yeah, stars. Lady C.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe Momoko. It doesn't really
I
matter.
don't know. Mina Shirakawa, Xena, and Waka versus Saori Anou, Tam, and Aya Sakura versus Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki. They're once again doing the Waka is the odd one out in a Beast 9-woman tag. Poor Waka. Yeah, that'd be good. I don't
Oh,
know
she
who
got
wins, to be
better.
honest. Yeah. I mean, the Crazy Kids team is the only one without a clear pin eater. But then, I mean, Tam can simply
But
win.
Miyu's also like Miyu can lose.
Yeah, true. She's probably dropping to Tam or Mina or Ano.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maika, Siri, and Konami versus
Wait, that's
Natsuko
Aya
Tora.
Sakura. Aya
Yeah, I
Sakura's
said.
just losing.
Maybe. Shouldn't always lose, though. But anyway. Maika, Siri, and Konami versus Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Tekla. Probably a way to tie over.
DDM.
Did you say DDM? Oh, yeah. It's DDM. Yeah, a way to tie wins.
No.
Okay. No,
Wait,
but
what? No.
if we're going
That's a
Maika
preview.
over Rocca the day before, or Maika over Tora the day before with Saya,
Potentially. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I
then
hope Oedo Tai wins there, so that they don't win on Wednesday or
Of course.
Tuesday.
We then have the Korkauen on the 23rd. This is Korkauen Stardom Nighter in Cork July #2. This is where they run in the evening with cheaper tickets for salarymen and students to attend. We have we did this already. Red Stars A participation, Waka versus Sayaka, and Unimon versus Roaka. And then for the Blue Stars, it's Kevin versus Aya and Lady C versus Momo Kogo. We talked about that earlier. We gave our predictions there. We have Mew and Lady C progressing. And then
Yes.
Unimon or Roaka versus Waka.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Unimon or Ruaka wins overall.
Okay. Mayu Utani, Hazuki Koguma, and Rian versus Saki Kashima, Ran Yagami, Tomoka Inaba, and Hina. God's Eye over Rian. We're gonna have to give
Yes.
Tomoka Inaba something sometime, so maybe here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and Hina. I mean, this is a preview to Tomoka and Mayu. They're gonna run it back
Yeah, that's
in
true.
the 5-star.
Our next match is Mina Shirakawa, Xena, and Hanako versus Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Suzu Suzuki. Well, Suzu's winning that one to plant the flag
Yes,
for her new
and
faction.
yeah, and we probably get a name.
Yes. Though we've been saying that for like 3 weeks now, so who knows?
But now Suzu's back and it's real.
That's true. Our next match is a New Blood Tag Championship match. Hanan and Saida versus Rian and Azusa Inaba.
I think
I
Hana and
think
Ida
Wingori
probably win.
retains because they have 2 other challengers lined up.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
they
is
have
something I
Hanako
thought
come
about.
back from her excursion and be like, "I've leveled up," and then her and Waka win the belts.
Well, Hanako's gonna have to do some heavy lifting there. In that
That's
case.
crazy.
But yeah, no, I could see that. I actually think you're
Yeah.
probably right in that
Okay.
regard. So yeah, Wingori wins again. That could be a really good match.
Then they get confronted by Ice Ribbon.
Orkin?
Ice Ribbon
Potentially.
wrestler shows up.
Yeah, Saran and maybe that new
New
Ice
Rook.
Ribbon rookie
Yeah,
who
yeah.
just
I've heard a lot
debuted.
about her. She's
Yeah,
meant to
she's
be
all
really
right.
good. Were you saying that makes me think she's great? So I'm gonna have to watch.
No, she did a really cool spot.
Okay,
But otherwise,
well,
she's
that's
just
enough.
a rookie.
Okay. Our next match is Maika, Saori Anou, Tam Nakano, and Saya Kamitani versus Natsuko Tora, Fukigen Death, Natsupoi, and Mei Sarah. Okay.
Why is Tam and Fukigen there?
Because you need to get Tam on the card in some manner.
Run Tam versus Fukigen in the singles.
Why would
Forehead.
you want another match on this card?
Good point. Let's move on.
Okay. Goddess of Stardom Championship, Siri and Konami versus Momo and Tekla. I don't know. Tekla probably costs them the win. She goes crazy, gets DQ'd. Siri and Konami retain. You
That
did
was
not just yawn. That's
No, that was a
insane.
properly timed yawn. Like it wasn't even on purpose.
You
That was
did this
just
last
random.
time as well. You did this at some point
Yeah.
last week.
It's funny
Okay,
because it's not even a bit. I'm just
yeah, I'm also tired, in fairness. We've been going for a while.
and
Okay, we'll be
ending
back
off on
next
talking
week.
about Tekla. Yeesh.
That's mean. Stop it. She's good, I'm telling you. She's gonna have a good GP. You're all gonna apologize to me. Anyway, next week we will review these 3 Stardom shows and the Sendai Girls stuff, and then we will preview the Sapporo pay-per-view doubleheader as well as Sauriism, which does feature Stardom wrestlers. And we'll also
We'll
review
that.
what we can see from Marigold. I think one show is going to be live, the other one might not
Yeah.
be since it's in Nagoya. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know
just
if
the first
is
one.
Marigold not running then the weekend after. I know there is a break
They
of
are
Marigold
not
coming. I
running
don't know.
because they'd be running against WWE.
Ah, yes. Okay, you can't do that. Can't do that. All right, that's this show. We've gone long. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to upload it as it is unless I cut it up. So
Well,
if
we're
you want
gonna
to
have to cut
stand,
it up.
you may
You've left
stand.
7 times, but okay, we're good. I also left once.
If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Ijo. We didn't even talk about how she talked, like the promo for that Io cut. Ijo.
She what?
Io cut a promo about like the saying, "You decide what you believe in," and she like did a whole
Oh,
beautiful thing about how it's like
maybe
you have to
next
believe
week.
in yourself. You know, it's like
Maybe next week.
you decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yeah.